What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 2WTO41. Senju Hashirama's sage body quality, tangled Orochimaru. Seeing Orochimaru who finally calmed down, Mingye immediately nodded in satisfaction. Orochimaru, I didn't come to kill you, nor did I come to catch you. Orochimaru's face was instantly shocked. Didn't you come to F***K me? Then you beat me up? You were looking for trouble on a rainy day, come here to make fun of me? Although he was extremely slanderous in his heart, Orochimaru didn't dare to say anything more. After all, the current situation is stronger than others. My purpose of coming here is very simple, go to be the attending doctor of my mental hospital. Mingye said with a smile on his face. After all, Orochimaru is the only scientific child in this world, and he must not be let go so simply. My own nephew Shisui is still waiting for Orochi to go back and take him as a pawn. No, he is treating the disease. Orochimaru's vertical pupils were full of doubts. Psychiatric hospital? What is this thing? A place to practice spiritual ninjutsu? A mental hospital is a hospital, but the patients are those whose brains are not normal. There is a little problem in the brain. Do you understand? Mingye explained a few sentences, which should be easy to understand compared to Orochimaru's experience of often doing human experiments. Orochimaru raised his brows. There can also be problems in that place? According to the current theories in the ninja world, it seems that there is no such thing as mental illness, so Orochimaru is also at a loss. To put it simply, it's a bit like a lunatic, you get it? Mingye explained a little bit. Orochimaru immediately nodded with a clear face. If you say crazy, then I won't be sleepy. Orochimaru didn't know how many people were driven crazy when he did experiments in the past. I'll be in charge of the village. When the time comes, you can change your name, turn around and change your body, and just go back with me. Mingye doesn't care about the so-called village missions, it's just a matter of how many days the old third generation can live. Do you have any other questions? Mingye stared at Orochimaru with squinted eyes. If you don't agree, I will do it directly. Orochimaru twitched his cheeks. Do you have any choice now? I'm afraid that as long as I say no, I will turn into a snake pie in no time. Advertisement, however, he still has a little worry in his heart. Why did he become a traitor? Isn't it because he used people as experiments and was finally caught? Wouldn't it be impossible to do experiments when I go back now? There are still many restrictions on his own immortality technique. Are you going to give up your dreams like this? A look of resignation appeared on Orochimaru's face. Glancing at Orochimaru's ugly face, Mingye also knew what this kid was thinking right now. Since you are my attending doctor, you can treat all the patients in the mental hospital as you like, as long as they don't die. Damn the name of my mental hospital, I want you to look good. Hearing Mingye's almost explicit words, Orochimaru's eyes lit up immediately, and he instantly understood Mingye's meaning. Just don't die. It's not that all experiments can be done with the people inside. Even if you want to die, ask me if Orochimaru agrees or disagrees. After all, the current Orochimaru is not the stunned young man in the past, and he won't kill people easily if he does an experiment. After settling his inner scruples, Orochimaru immediately stood up and said with a sure face, Mr. Mingye, I am willing to go back with you. Okay, you will be called Orochi 9 from now on. Mingye nodded in satisfaction, very satisfied with his temporary name. Ding, the mission is completed. Get a lucky draw chance once, and it has been sent to the host's personal account. Close black lens bracket. After Mingye subdued Orochimaru, the system also remembered the sound of prompting in time. Draw a lottery now. Mingye immediately took advantage of this lucky draw opportunity. After all, these things were useless lying in the warehouse. Or directly transforming it into strength is the kingly way. Ding, successfully obtained Senju Hashirama Sage Body, close black lens bracket. Mingye's eyes lit up. Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas. The reason why his strength is so strong, besides the terrifying wood style, is probably the most exaggerated thing is his physique. It's like an immortal Shaoqiang, and chakra is endless. Do you want to merge now? Close black lens bracket. Mingye forcibly suppressed the smile on his face. After all, Orochimaru is still beside him now. I'll give you an hour, you pack your own things first, and I'll come to you again in an hour. Mingye said something to Orochimaru who was next to him, and then flew into the air, and left the place on the air. Using moonwalk from Marine 6 Styles, advertisement. Leaving Orochimaru standing still with a dazed look on his face. What are you packing up? You punched me to pieces. 1 hour, aren't you afraid that I'll just run away? Could it be that if you let me run for an hour, I can't run away? Orochimaru felt insulted, an insult to his dignity. I'm a Sannin, so I can't get into your eyes. Orochimaru immediately wanted to run away, even his legs became snakes. After walking a few steps, Orochimaru hesitated again, and he knew Mingye's temper. If he dared to run now, Orochimaru might die tragically on the spot the next time we meet. And, can you escape now? Orochimaru's face was gloomy, and his thoughts were extremely chaotic. He is a smart man, but Mingye is also a smart man. Do smart people make mistakes like this? Perhaps this is a test? After thinking for a while, Orochimaru gritted his teeth and stayed where he was. His intuition told him that he must not run today. It's a pity that Mingye, who was rushing to the sky, didn't think so much at all. Now Mingye's mind is full of Senju Hashirama Sage Body. As for whether Orochimaru will run, this thing Mingye has already left behind. Can you catch up to Orochimaru? The answer is no. No matter how awesome observation Haki is, it is impossible for Mingye to find the other party under the condition that the other party disappeared in advance. But Orochimaru was right about one thing. If he dared to run today, then the only way to wait for him was death. Even if he goes to Otsutsuki Kaguya's lair, he will die. 042. Integrating the idea of Senju Hashirama Sage Body, third generation open black lens bracket seeking flowers close black lens bracket. At this moment, Mingye found a place where no one was around, and used observation Haki to search the surrounding area carefully. After making sure no one is around here, system, integrate Sage Body immediately. Senju Hashirama Sage Body Quality, start fusion after 3 seconds countdown. 3, 2, 1, suddenly, a terrifying force appeared in Mingye's body out of thin air. Every cell in the body seemed to be forcibly stretched countless times, and a strong pain came from the body. It was as if there were countless elephants running wildly in his body. Mingye couldn't stop the cold sweat on his face, but still resisting the pain in his body, he gritted his teeth and didn't say a word. The severe pain came and went quickly, and Mingye's body was still recovering in a short time. Who? After the severe pain disappeared, Mingye immediately panted heavily, with a shocked expression on his face. The chakra of Senju Hashirama is hundreds of times that of ordinary people, so the terrifying chakra rushes into the body at once, even with the help of the system. Mingye still felt that he almost went to see Lord Hades. However, what followed was a strong sense of control, as if the whole world was under Mingye's control. Some of the injuries in the body caused by the impact of the shock fruit before were eliminated in an instant. He took out a handful of kunai casually and swiped hard on his arm, and a bloody gash appeared on his arm. It's a pity that before the blood flowed out, the skin healed immediately. Not a bit of blood came out. Mingye suddenly took a breath, his eyes were full of shock. What kind of terrifying physique is this? No wonder Senju Hashirama is called the god of ninjas. Earth-style earth flow wall. Mingye clapped his hands violently and shouted loudly. The chakra in his body, like Wang Yang's sea, immediately surged wildly. Advertisement: countless terrifying stone walls rise from the ground, stretching for hundreds of miles and still going on. The stone wall is several meters wide and 50 meters high, so long that it cannot see the edge. At the same time, what is even more shocking is that the stone walls are full of dog heads. If Kakashi sees this scene, his eyes will pop out. Looking at his masterpiece in front of him, Mingye nodded in satisfaction. The god of ninjas certainly lives up to its reputation. Just this stone wall, as long as the thickness of the stone wall is changed, blocking a tailed beast bomb from 9 tails will be no problem at all. Now, he, Mingye, can also treat 9 tails as a little fox. Thinking of this, Mingye was in a good mood, raised his head to the sky and roared, soared into the sky, and went straight to where Orochimaru was. 9 Tails, who was far away in Konoha village, shuddered fiercely and scratched his huge head with his claws. This feeling was only experienced before facing those 2 perverts. There should be no people of that level in the ninja world now. A trace of human doubt flashed in 9 Tails' eyes. At this moment, third generation's complexion is also not very good looking. Just an hour ago, he was very happy. Because Mingye has left Konoha, it is estimated that this visit will be at least a month. And during this month, he can deal with the Uchiha clan at will. It's a pity that a ninja from Anbu came to report just now. After Kakashi delivered the Hokage secret order, he immediately ran to where Naruto was. And also had a long contact with Naruto. Third generation's heart immediately became worried. Kakashi went to see Naruto at this time. Is there anything tricky about it? Could it be Mingye who left behind for him? Thinking of that terrifying 9 Tails demon fox back then, third generation shuddered immediately. Now he didn't have Namikaze Minato by his side. If 9 Tails were to break free from the seal, I'm afraid the whole Konoha would not be enough for the fox to eat 2 bites. Third generation doesn't know Guy's true strength. The more I think about it, the stronger the feeling of uneasiness in my heart becomes. Survey Naruto immediately, don't allow Kakashi to approach. Third generation immediately said seriously. It's a pity that after doing this, third generation's heart is still uneasy, and the expression on his face is uncertain. After thinking for a while, I immediately picked up a pen and wrote a letter. Advertisement: the pen fell, and immediately summoned the ninja outside the door to come in. Tell this letter to Tsunade. The contents of the letter must not be lost. As a former Sannin of Konoha village, Tsunade still has a lot of affection for the village when he left Konoha in the past. Tsunade once left some passwords, and if Konoha was in a critical situation, they could be exchanged back. Now, third generation directly used this opportunity to call Tsunade back and remind Tsunade to wear the necklace. Maybe Tsunade himself doesn't know the function of this necklace, but the cunning third generation does. Because he accidentally heard about this necklace from second Hokage, which contained a powerful sealing technique that could subdue 9 Tails. After doing all this, third generation's face became a little more relaxed, and the feeling that made him jump a little bit disappeared. At this time, third generation sounded Danzo's proposal. It's time for the Uchiha clan to disappear too. Third generation muttered to himself. The expression on his face was full of ruthlessness. The reason why everything has become so passive now is because of the Uchiha clan. If the Uchiha family were honestly suppressed and divided, then I wouldn't make a fool of myself several times in a row. There is no need to force yourself to be so cruel. The third generation said again. I'm fulfilling the last wish of the second generation. A weird smile appeared on his face. At that time, if necessary, you can directly throw this blame on second generation. After all, the second generation's attitude towards Uchiha was well known to everyone. Even if it did something to exterminate the genocide, it would be understandable. It is estimated that if the spirit of the second generation in the sky heard Sarutobi Hiruzen think so, he would probably jump out of the coffin and strangle the third generation to death. Back then, he advocated both suppressing and wooing. For example, Uchiha Kagami was one of his confidants. If he really wanted to kill Uchiha, how could he vigorously promote Uchiha Kagami? Now this third generation is forcibly distorting the policies left by the second generation for its own selfish desires. What an old B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Danzo's fangs show open black lens bracket flower request close black lens bracket. Danzo was not idle at this time, he was thinking about how to deal with the Uchiha clan. After all, the more things like eyeballs, the better. For Danzo with Izanagi, one eyeball is one life. It's just that Danzo encountered a strange thing today, he found a strange person. Wearing a strange one-eyed mask and long hair like a hedgehog, this weirdo came up and claimed to be Uchiha Madara. Danzo immediately smiled disdainfully in his heart, doesn't he know if Madara is dead or not? After all, he was the one who saw Madara's body, okay. It's just that this guy's profile really piqued Danzo's interest. It doesn't matter if you were Uchiha Madara, what matters is that you were very good. In the moment of the simple fight just now, Danzo knew the identity of this person, he was the one who attacked Konoha with 9 tails back then. During the 9 tails siege that year, Danzo did not appear from the beginning to the end. The reason is very simple, he was just quietly accumulating strength. But by coincidence, he discovered the scene where the 4th generation was fighting with the man in front of him. Only since then, Danzo has always remembered this person's aura, until today when he met him, Danzo immediately recognized the familiar aura. And that powerful space ninjutsu. Danzo immediately had a new idea in mind. How about you and I join forces and destroy the Uchiha clan together? Danzo looked at Uchiha Obito in front of him and offered to invite him. Danzo knew that this person must have hatred for Konoha, otherwise, how could he have driven 9 tails to attack Konoha? And this person doesn't care about the Uchiha clan, otherwise how could the whole village see 9 tails being controlled by Mangekyo? Didn't this throw the shit pot on the head of the Uchiha clan all at once? Therefore, Danzo is very confident in his proposal. Under the mask, Uchiha Obito looked indifferent, he just stopped by to see Lin's grave today, but he happened to be bumped into by Danzo. And as soon as he came up, he invited himself to kill the Uchiha clan. But just as Danzo thought, Obito also doesn't care about the Uchiha family anymore, after the North Uchiha Madara taught. Obito just wants to change this world, a world full of wars and killings. Since the Uchiha family is the largest family in Konoha, if it is wiped out at this time, it will definitely weaken Konoha's strength to the greatest extent. This may be helpful for future planning, so Obito is ready to agree to Danzo's invitation. Good. Danzo was overjoyed immediately, and now he has recruited a powerful helper, and Mingye is not in the village at this time. In this way, Uchiha's ending can be said to be doomed. Advertisement. But I have 2 conditions. First, let go of a child named Uchiha Sasuke. Second, the corpses of the Uchiha clan must stay in Konoha. Danzo said viciously. After thinking for a while, Obito agreed to Danzo's proposal. It's not a big deal to let go of a child, he doesn't care about corpses or anything like that. As long as it can weaken Konoha's strength, by the way, it is always a good thing. Okay, see you then. The space twisted in a spiral, and Uchiha Obito disappeared from Danzo's sight. Danzo suddenly smiled sinisterly, his face full of greed. He seems to have seen a dozen pairs of Sharingan waiting for him. Deliberately requesting to leave the body is also for this purpose. As for Uchiha Sasuke, if it weren't for Itachi's strong request, Danzo would have been too lazy to bother. Thinking of Mingye coming back 10 or 2 days later to find that one of the bosses Uchiha clan just disappeared, what expression should he have on his face? Danzo immediately looked forward to it. Afterwards, Danzo didn't delay too much, went back to the base directly, and set off for Hokage's office with Itachi. In Hokage's office, all the high-level members of Konoha gathered together. 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, Hokage assists Shimura Danzo. The 2 elders of the advisory group are Utatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. Konoha F4 plus Uchiha Itachi. The news that the Uchiha family intends to rebel has been confirmed. I think this time we must act first. Danzo threw out a document and threw it in front of 3rd generation. The so-called evidence of treason is naturally fabricated by Danzo, and it is nothing more than a face-saving procedure. By the way, it's just to deceive the ignorant Itachi. The 3rd generation result file, opened it and glanced casually, then handed the file to the 2 elders beside him. After the 3 of them checked the documents, they all had strange expressions on their faces. Advertisement based on their years of experience, the authenticity of this document can be seen at a glance. But all 3 of them maintained a tacit understanding, and none of them denied the document. 3rd generation has been unhappy with Uchiha for a long time, delaying his control of Konoha, and the hateful Uchiha Mingye has made him ugly several times. Now that Danzo is willing to be the villain, he is not happy, however, he still forcibly put on a cautious look on his face. Not to mention the other 2 elders of the advisory group, Utatane Kaharu was directly punched by Mingye and lay on the bed for half a month. Mitokado Homura was only contradicted a few times by Mingye. Of course, Mingye is secondary, what they really value is the power vacuum left after the demise of the Uchiha clan. Third generation pretended to be deep and said, Danzo, if this is true, it would be too unbelievable. Can you ensure the authenticity of the information? Danzo scolded the old fox inwardly, and at this time, he would still blame him, if he guarantees the authenticity of the information today. If there is no problem after that day, he, third generation, was just misled by the information provided by Danzo. And he, Danzo, will take all the responsibility. But Danzo didn't argue too much at this time, and nodded directly. Let's get the eyeballs of the Uchiha clan first, and then we can talk about the responsibilities in the future. Maybe it's time for him to Danzo for Hokage. After seeing Danzo's promise, third generation nodded in satisfaction. Since that's the case, let you, Itachi, be responsible for this matter. You know how to choose between the village and the family. When Itachi on the side saw that third generation also confirmed the news that Uchiha was planning to rebel, he immediately despaired. Konoha's high-level executives are all here, so they can't just lie to him. He also went out with Yi Rong to inquire secretly before, but Mingye killed Shisui and even threw out the broken forehead protector. Itachi even used hypnosis to hypnosis that person, but the answer was still the same. Combining the pictures seen today, Itachi can already confirm that the Uchiha clan has rebelled against Konoha. Thinking of Shisui's last wish, thinking of the will of fire, Itachi finally nodded. I have only one request. Let Sasuke go, third generation nodded. I will let Kakashi assist you, Danzo, go and plan it. 044. Obito appears. The genocide night is about to begin. Open black lens bracket. Ask for flowers and rewards. Close black lens bracket. At this moment, Mingye is taking Orochimaru on the way back to Konoha. No nonsense, holding Orochimaru with one hand and walking all the way through moonwalk. Now with Hashirama's sage body, Mingye's endurance can be described as terrifying. With such an intensity of moonwalk, he might have to rest for an hour after walking for half a day before, but now, dragging Orochimaru's face without panting. The journey that was originally planned to be completed in 3 days is now over in 2 days. Looking at the Konoha village, which had just emerged, Mingye smiled with emotion. I didn't expect to get such a big reward from going out this time. Not only did I find the attending physician of the mental hospital, but I also got Senju Hashirama's sage body. Orochimaru, who was held by Mingye, was shocked. He kept rejoicing in his heart that he didn't run away before, otherwise judging by Mingye's current speed, it would be a breeze to catch up with him. Although I don't know if Mingye has the ability to judge his direction, Orochimaru was glad that he didn't have the chance to know. Moreover, what shocked Orochimaru even more is that the current Mingye seems to give him a very special feeling. That feels a bit like the power of the Hashirama cells in his hands. Even, when seeing Mingye again before, Orochimaru even had a feeling that Senju Hashirama was resurrected. He didn't know what Mingye did in the hour before he left, but she knew that Mingye might be extremely powerful now. If you really want to crush him to death, it's just a matter of flipping hands. At this moment, seeing Konoha village again, Orochimaru was also deeply moved. He was extremely embarrassed when he left here last time. He was run out like a lost dog, but when I came back again today, I actually wanted to go in openly again. I don't know what his teacher Hiruzen will look like when he sees him again. Aren't we going in? Big Shion looked at Mingye in front of him suspiciously. After reaching a certain distance, Mingye directly returned to the ground from the air, without continuing to move forward. Waiting for the show, Mingye said lightly, with a playful look on his face. I am afraid that I will directly startle the third generation by coming back so early this time. Watching a play. Advertisement. Mingye glanced at Orochimaru. Look what good show your teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen will make for me. Looking at the sky where stars had already started to appear, Orochimaru was a little puzzled. At night, what kind of drama can the two of us see while hiding outside Konoha? But since Mingye didn't say anything, Orochimaru didn't feel comfortable asking, so the two fell silent. In fact, Mingye didn't know what was going to happen, and it was very likely that nothing would happen. As for why they stay here, the reason is very simple. From this location, Mingye can already roughly perceive the situation of the Uchiha tribe. If you plan to do something while he is out, you will definitely not be able to escape Mingye's eyes. When the time comes when third generation is in the middle of working and is in full swing, Mingye will suddenly appear again, wondering if it will scare third generation to death. It is best to catch the third generation directly on the spot. The task of ugly third generation, given by the system before, can be regarded as completed. Thinking of this, Mingye couldn't help showing a smile. It is a pity that one day has passed and still nothing has happened. Today is the third day of the night. If nothing happens today, then Mingye is going to go straight back. After all, it's not comfortable to stay in this wilderness. Mingye's contempt for the third generation was even greater in his heart. This third generation was indeed an idiot, and he had been away for 3 days. If you don't do it to Uchiha at this time, when will you do it? Are you doing it when you go back? Just as Mingye shook his head, feeling extremely disappointed with third generation, Mingye immediately noticed something interesting from the corner of his eye. On the treetops in the distance, a person is standing on it, overlooking Konoha village. Mingye took a closer look and was immediately surprised. Isn't this Uchiha Obito? How could he appear here at this time? According to the original book, there is still a long way to go before Obito's appearance. Could it be that I changed the course of history? Mingye narrowed his eyes slightly. His guess should be right. Mingye's appearance put too much pressure on third generation. So third generation is going to attack Uchiha in advance. Advertisement. Looking at Obito on the treetops in the distance, Mingye showed a cruel smile. This Obito is also a white-eyed wolf, who can't be licked by a dog. Lin doesn't love him, but Lin only loves Kakashi. She has been afraid of damage to her companionship, so she didn't tell Obito. In the end, Lin took the initiative to commit suicide at the hands of Kakashi for various reasons. This relationship is a bit like Naruto, Sasuke and little Sakura. Naruto likes little Sakura, and little Sakura likes Sasuke. But the problem is that this boy Obito is going to destroy the world in a panic. I didn't even think about destroying the world every day, let alone kill this one or that one. Obito is so good, even the family who gave birth to him and raised him are ready to slaughter. Such a thing is definitely the best patient in Konoha Mental Hospital. Such things must also go inside the Konoha Mental Hospital, so as not to harm others outside. Mingye grabbed Orochimaru, who was sleeping next to him. See, that person will be your patient from now on, give him a cure. After being awakened, Orochimaru suddenly looked at Obito in the distance with a confused face, with a question mark on his head. Who the hell is this? Mingye ignored Orochimaru's doubts, and looked at Obito indifferently, ready to continue to see what tricks they wanted to play. Since they had prepared such a good show, wouldn't it be a shame if they jumped out at this time? When they are halfway through their work, they suddenly appear upset. After Obito stagnated for a while, his figure immediately disappeared in a burst of space Uzumaki, and when he reappeared, it is already inside the Konoha barrier. Moreover, it did not cause the slightest reaction from the enchantment. Mingye also had to nod secretly. Kamui is very easy to pass through this kind of enchantment. 045. Kakashi's betrayal. The killing begins. Open black lens bracket. Ask for flowers and rewards. Close black lens bracket. At this moment, within a certain stronghold of Konoha, countless masked ninjas are waiting here, with murderous aura on their bodies. Before the group of ninjas were Konoha's high-level quartet and Itachi. Third generation looked at the moon in the sky, nodded and said, it's time. The Uchiha clan wants to conspire against and subvert the hard-won peace of Konoha village. Kakashi, next you take these ninjas to form an enchantment around Uchiha, and you can only enter and not exit. Never let anyone go. Third generation's voice was very severe, and the words were filled with murderous intent. The rest of you follow Itachi. He will take you to avoid the defense of the Uchiha clan, and try not to alarm anyone. Complete the mission in the dark. Itachi also wears a cat face mask, but where the two eyes are located, there is a faint red light, as if strangers should not get close. Looking at Kakashi, who didn't respond and looked dull, third generation frowned. I have been using it very smoothly in the past, but why am I always distracted today? Kakashi, Kakashi. After third generation yelled twice, Kakashi came back to his senses and hurriedly said, yes. Ever since meeting Naruto that day, Kakashi has always had the face of his teacher Namikaze Minato in his mind. Even when I was dreaming, I dreamed of the figure of the fourth generation, and the fourth generation looked at him covered in blood in the dream. Why don't you save Naruto? Are you a perfidy too? Have you forgotten what your teacher taught you? For several days, Kakashi woke up from such a nightmare. Today's Kakashi has not rested for a long time, because he didn't dare to rest. He was afraid that if he closed his eyes, his teacher would appear before his eyes again. Especially when he received the content of the task to be performed today, Kakashi was stunned. How could the village make such a decision? How could the Uchiha clan rebel? I just went to the Uchiha clan 2 days ago. The atmosphere inside didn't look like rebellion at all. Moreover, Mingye was dispatched after pointing out his question about Naruto. Now that Konoha is going to attack the Uchiha clan, how can there be no problems here? Looking at third Hokage, who no longer has the same face as before, Kakashi only feels that the world is a little crazy. Although he has always been the dark side of Konoha, has been walking in the dark, and completed some shady tasks for the village. Advertisement, however, he still seemed to have underestimated Konoha's darkness. If Naruto is really the only son of fourth Hokage, then he is nothing but darkness, and the greatest darkness is probably the third Hokage in front of him. Thinking of this, Kakashi only felt a chill down his back. But now, he can only execute the order of the third generation first. Now, everyone go. With the order of the third generation, all the ninjas immediately disappeared into the stronghold. Third generation said with regret on his face, it's a pity for the Uchiha clan, Konoha will lose a lot of power again. Danzo snorted coldly. There is no one else here, so don't pretend to be like this. Third generation glanced at Danzo with a smile on her face. She is in a very good mood now, so she doesn't bother to argue with Danzo. Let's go back to my office and wait for the good news. After speaking, several people disappeared into the darkness together. On the way, Kakashi and Itachi split into two groups. Kakashi first set up the barrier, and then Itachi started the slaughter. Along the way, Kakashi seemed to think of his father, Konoha's White Fang, a ninja who gave up his mission to save his companions. In the end, he died in the mouths of people in his own village. Kakashi hesitated for a moment. Uchiha must be a village companion at present. If I became an accomplice in the massacre of the Uchiha clan in order to carry out the wrong order of third Hokage, then would I be able to live up to my father's teachings? One side is Hokage's order, a face of his father's teachings and his own beliefs. Since Lin died at his own hands, Kakashi vowed never to let his companion fall in front of him again. Now I actually want to pick up the butcher knife and slash at my companion. This, should it? Kakashi kept asking himself this question in his heart. At last, he has the answer. He must not just watch the Uchiha clan be wiped out like this. If he was really asked to do nothing, I'm afraid this matter would become another demon of his heart, a lingering nightmare. Later, Kakashi used his identity as the captain to directly avoid a kind of subordinate. Finding a corner, he shot a kunai with all his strength into the Uchiha clan. Advertisement Ku Wushang carried a secret letter, the content of which was very simple. Sarutobi Hiruzen is on the move, the leader is Itachi. Kunai turned into a black light, flew straight to the Uchiha tribe, and shot at the wooden door. The sound of kunai's concentrated wooden door immediately caught the attention of the ninjas of the Uchiha clan. After opening the secret letter, the person immediately looked shocked and ran to Fugaku's room. After Fugaku got the secret letter, the expression on his face immediately became gloomy. Sure enough, as Mingye guessed, third generation really picked this time to start. But the question is, didn't Mingye promise to come back within 3 days? Now the third day is coming to an end. There was no sign of Mingye either. Fugaku's heart sank immediately, and it might be difficult for her alone to resist the current attack. But fortunately, he listened to Mingye's words and modified all Uchiha's defenses, otherwise he might be caught off guard today. As for Itachi mentioned in the letter, Fugaku couldn't believe it. His son was about to swing the butcher knife at him. What an irony. First Uchiha Shisui, then Uchiha Itachi, some traitors came out one after another, which made Fugaku, the patriarch, feel a little sad in his heart. But Mingye had mentioned it to him before, telling him to be careful of Itachi. So even though there was some sadness in his heart, Fugaku was not too surprised. Send the order, all guards. Fugaku clapped his hands, and said directly to the Uchiha people in the room. At this moment, the enchantment outside the clan land was also quietly constructed. Itachi on the telegraph pole looked at the moon in the sky, and when he found that he had already walked directly above his head, he also slowly put on his mask. 2 scarlet lights appeared in the eye sockets. The killing begins. 046. The Itachi who was crazy, the little Sasuke who witnessed everything open black lens bracket ask for flowers and rewards close black lens bracket. At this time, Uchiha Obito also came to Uchiha Itachi, and the two had exchanged information before. You deal with Uchiha Fugaku, I'll take care of the others, Fugaku. Obito said in a cold voice, without any emotion for the Uchiha clan in his eyes. Itachi nodded numbly, the development of the matter was beyond his control. If you are responsible for Fugaku yourself, maybe you can quickly solve Uchiha Fugaku when there is a chance to sneak attack, so that the village will suffer less losses. It's a pity that they didn't find Mingye who had been hiding all this time. At this moment, after Mingye heard the conversation between the two, a mocking smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect to meet such 2 rebellious boys today. If these 2 bastards were in ancient China, they would be dragged out and executed Ling Kai. But since you have met me, a modern person who speaks culture, I will not be so cruel and then leave you to Orochimaru, the attending physician of my open black lens bracket Konoha mental hospital close black lens bracket. Let Orochimaru that you are human, cure mental illness. Obito immediately lost his figure in a space spiral, leaving only Uchiha Itachi standing on the pole. Mingye didn't care about Uchiha Obito. This dog can be discussed later. What he wants to do most now is Uchiha Itachi. Obito was ridiculed by many people when he was a child, and there are no relatives in the family now, so he can talk about what he did. But you, Itachi, are different. Your parents are still alive, and you have a younger brother, Sasuke, with a happy family, and even a little girlfriend waiting for you. Are you here to exterminate the clan at this time? You say that no one will be angry after seeing such a person. At this moment, Itachi doesn't know that the family has changed a lot, and he still rushes towards the place where Fugaku was in the past. Mingye looked at Uchiha Itachi's back, and a smile appeared on his sharp-edged face. He has already thought of how to deal with this ferret. Then the figure slowly disappeared into the darkness. Itachi came to the room where Fugaku was staying, and opened the door to the side. Fugaku, who was sitting by the window in a kneeling position, was spotted immediately. Father, I'm back. Itachi looked at his father and forced a smile on his face. If he can, he wants to sneak attack Uchiha Fugaku directly and end the fight as soon as possible. In his imagination, his father, who hadn't seen him for so long, would definitely come up and pat him on the shoulder, asking about his recent situation with a concerned face. When the time comes, he will directly launch a sneak attack, and he will definitely be able to end the battle as quickly as possible. Thinking of this, Itachi couldn't help praising his fighting wisdom. After all, he is an intelligent ninja. Kneel down. Advertisement, Fugaku, shouted loudly, the voice was full of sternness. Itachi's heart was startled suddenly, and he was quite frightened by the scolding of Fugaku. My father has never spoken to me in such a tone. How could it be like this today? Could it be that he is angry because he ran away with Shisui, so he is so strict? Thinking of this in his heart, Itachi breathed a sigh of relief. At least, Fugaku hasn't found anything abnormal yet. It's nothing more than a few words of reprimand, and we can still find a chance to do it when the time comes. Hearing this, Itachi immediately knelt obediently in front of Fugaku. Father, I already know my mistake. Please forgive me, father. Itachi looked sincere, and no one could see anything unusual. There was a weird smile on Fugaku's face, but it made him happier when the smile was in Itachi's eyes. Father seems to have forgiven himself. Fugaku approached Itachi step by step, and the smile on his face became stronger and stronger. Itachi also showed a smile on the face of Fugaku, who was getting closer and closer, and chakra surged in his body. Ready to give, Fugaku. A black hand. Fugaku walked up to Itachi, raised his right hand lightly, and hovered in the air. Itachi narrowed his eyes, and immediately thought that his father was about to pat him on the shoulder, and a dart appeared in the palm of his back. As soon as Fugaku's hand falls on his shoulder, Itachi will immediately violently kill people. Snapped. Hands up, hands down. A crisp slap echoed in the room, and a bright red slap appeared on Itachi's face. Itachi. What happened? Itachi was dumbfounded. Isn't it a pat on the shoulder? Why is there such a burning pain on my face? B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** of the Uchiha clan. Fugaku shouted loudly, looking very emotional. The breath of chakra around him was fluctuating, and he looked like he was about to fight. Looking at the furious father in front of him, Itachi felt a little doubt in his heart. In his memory, his father never seemed so angry. Then, the other hand of Fugaku was raised high again. Facing the other side of Itachi's face, he yelled fiercely, and even made bursts of piercing sounds. Itachi frowned wildly. It seemed that his father was really angry, and Itachi subconsciously wanted to resist. Advertisement, however, thinking of the purpose of his sneak attack, Itachi forcibly held back. Snapped. Another crisp slap hit Itachi's face. A bright red slap print also appeared on the intact face on the other side. This slap directly stunned Itachi. It's a pity that Itachi didn't have time to react. The violent storm of his father, Fugaku, came immediately. In between, Fugaku bowed left and right, raised his hands high, alternately back and forth, and slaps fell like raindrops one by one. Crack, 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 crack. One after another, slaps kept falling on Itachi's face. Itachi's cheeks were immediately swollen, visible to the naked eye, and his mind went blank. Who I am? Where am I? What am I going to do? Only the bursts of pain on his face reminded him that he was still alive. Kong. Lang. At this time, the door of the room opened suddenly, and a small head stuck in. Fugaku looked up, and it turned out to be little Sasuke. The scene suddenly became a little awkward. I slapped my elder brother violently in front of his younger brother, and the raised hand of Fugaku stagnated in the air. Little Sasuke heard the voice and came to have a look, only to find that his father was throwing his brother wildly. In his young heart, he simply thought that his elder brother must have done something bad to make his father angry. I'd better slip away quickly, or my father would drag me into it and beat me up. That would be too bad luck. 047. Obito's horror. Mingye spit out a little sun. After the applause stopped for a while, Itachi also took a short breath. Sudden, everyone be alert, there's an enemy invasion. Everyone be alert, there's an enemy invasion. Everyone be alert, there's an enemy invasion. A loud voice resounded throughout the Uchiha clan. Itachi, who was kneeling on the ground and being slapped, also realized that something was wrong. According to the plan, I gave Uchiha Obito the distribution map of all the defense forces of the Uchiha clan, and he will quietly eliminate everyone. How could it cause such a loud alarm call? Moreover, this voice seemed to be his father's voice. If the father is yelling alert outside, who is this, Uchiha Fugaku, in front of him? Could it be that the father, in front of him is fake? Didn't he receive more than 100 slaps in vain? Feeling the pain on his face, Uchiha Itachi suddenly became angry. His eyes immediately turned into Mangekyo Sharingan, and a cold murderous aura radiated from his whole body. How could he, a Konoha genius, be deceived here, voluntarily kneel in front of this person, and get slapped more than 100 times? I saw Fugaku in front of me smiling brightly, with an incomparably sunny expression on his face. This person is naturally Mingye pretending to be Fugaku. Itachi just wanted to make a move when he discovered something that horrified him even more. The father, in front of him, actually took off his shoes, holding a shoe in one hand and holding it up high. The sole of the shoe continued to magnify in Itachi's sight, and finally, it completely blocked all his sight. At the same time, there was a severe, burning pain on the left side of his face. Itachi hadn't had time to scream out, and the big shoe sole on the right fell off again. Crack. 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 Mingye only felt that the sound was incomparably beautiful, better than all musical instruments in the world. What could be more satisfying than taking two big soles and throwing them on the white-eyed wolf's face? Moreover, this big shoe sole is the same big shoe sole that stepped on the disgusting liquid in the Orochimaru medium before. Crack. 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 After hundreds of slaps left and right, Mingye raised it high left and right, swung it in an astonishing arc, and then slammed it down viciously. Boom. The beaten unconscious Uchiha Itachi immediately turned into a meat bullet and flew out through the gate. Call. Mingye let out a long breath, refreshed, with a very satisfied look on his face. Today is a good day. Advertisement afterwards. After looking contemptuously at the half-dead Itachi on the ground, he shot up into the sky and rushed towards the place where the siren sounded before. Not far away, Uchiha Fugaku is leading the tribe to fight Obito. The ninjas who came in with Obito were basically killed and injured, and only Obito was left here. I have to say that after being trained by Madara, Obito's strength is still good. At least Uchiha is a big family, and hundreds of elite ninjas just can't do anything about Obito. Kamui is indeed too buddy in the hands of Obito. Of course, Obito has no way to fight back at this time. After all, so many Sharingans are staring at him, it is difficult for him to find a chance to attack. At this time, Obito also discovered that Mingye had come over. At this moment, Mingye had cancelled the transformation technique and used his true face. Obito was also surprised when he saw the direction Mingye came from. Mingye came, but Itachi didn't show up. Doesn't this mean Itachi has lost? Thinking of this, Obito cursed secretly and prepared to evacuate directly. Obito leapt high towards the sky, nodded his hands aside, and bulged his mouth. Fire-style Great Fireball technique. A huge fireball directly hit Mingye, the terrifying temperature distorted the surrounding space. Fugaku was taken aback, and shouted at Mingye, "This person has an extraordinary fire style, please avoid him." He had seen this mysterious person's fire style before, and the flames were simply too terrifying. If he hadn't flashed so fast, he might have turned into a roast duck. Mingye smiled disdainfully, "How could you fool anyone with such a small fireball?" With clapping of both hands, a terrifying chakra immediately rushed to his mouth. Fire-style Great Fireball technique. Boom! A huge fireball suddenly appeared in the Uchiha tribe, and the terrifying temperature directly ignited some surrounding wooden houses in the air. The entire Uchiha tribe suddenly felt that the air was getting hotter. Feeling the scorching air in their lungs, everyone coughed violently. The sky, which was originally still dark at night, was instantly illuminated as if it were daytime. Uchiha Fugaku's eyeballs bulged immediately, and his jaw was about to drop. This is the sun? Uchiha Obito in midair was startled. What is that big red fireball below? Is this shit the sea-level ninjutsu open black lens bracket fire-style Great Fireball technique close black lens bracket? Compared with other people's fireballs, it is almost like sesame seeds and durians. Is this really something humans can do? Uchiha Obito only felt his scalp tingling, and the hairs on his body stood on end. If he was concentrated by this fireball, I am afraid that even if 6 paths came today, he would not be able to save him. The figure distorted immediately, disappeared into the space fluctuation, and was already in another place when it reappeared. Mingye was startled when he saw the fireball in the sky. He obviously only used a little strength. Mingye only controlled the usage of chakra because he was afraid of causing too much impact. Mingye's son immediately crushed the Great Fireball, spit out by Obito, and then rose to the sky without losing power. In the end, it directly ran into the enchantment that Kakashi arranged on the periphery. At this moment, Kakashi on the periphery frowned. The barrier seemed to fluctuate violently just now, and even gave him a feeling of breaking. Advertisement: didn't Master Hokage say that this enchantment can directly resist the attack of 9 tails? How could there be such a situation? Just as Kakashi was weighing solemnly, the enchantment calmed down again. Kakashi was at a loss. Could it be that he hadn't had a good rest these days and had hallucinations? After the little sun spat out by Mingye hit the barrier, it immediately spread out, covering the entire sky along the oval barrier. The entire sky seemed to be on fire, and the sea of clouds turned into a sea of flames, a scene of hell with the end of the world coming. Obito, who was dodging to the side, looked at the giant great fireball blooming in the sky, and a few drops of cold sweat suddenly left on his face. Can't help but be glad that I avoided this ghost thing. Glancing at Mingye on the ground, Obito swallowed, ready to run away. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb Technique. Mingye clapped his hands again, and hundreds of water dragons rose into the sky, heading straight into the sea of flames in the sky. This waste really makes this sea of fire fall. I am afraid that today it will be Mingye who slaughtered the Uchiha clan. Then the fun will be great. At the same time, Mingye also found that Obito was launching Kamui, and his figure was about to disappear in the space distortion. Mangekyo, open. Mingye opened his eyes suddenly, and a dazzling red light appeared from Mingye's eyes, making everyone unable to open their eyes. A mysterious aura immediately appeared around Mingye. With Mingye watching, Obito found that his space ninjutsu was actually speeding up, and the space channel that could last for several minutes was about to be closed. Obito's face was horrified, and panic flashed in his eyes. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. If the space channel is really closed, when Mingye frees up his hand, I'm afraid his fate will not be much better. Immediately, he gritted his teeth, forced his right eye to maintain the space channel with all his strength, and then drilled in at full speed. HMPH, still want to run? Mingye immediately gave a cold snort of disdain. Before getting Senju's sage body, Mingye would not dare to use Mangekyo casually. After all, if you use too much, you will be blind. Now it's unscrupulous. Chakra surged continuously in his body, his eyes glowed red, and the mysterious aura continued to deepen. Just looking at it, there is a feeling of being addicted to it. In the end, the space channel was closed ahead of time, and an object fell from the sky. Fugaku stepped forward and saw that it was a bleeding lower body. 048. The insidious third generation and Danzo, the sold advisors. Fugaku was stunned. Why did he leave his lower body behind? Can a person live without the lower body? At this time, under the roar of hundreds of water dragons, the flames in the sky were quickly extinguished. At this time, Mingye also rushed over. When he saw something falling, he thought he had successfully interrupted Obito's Kamui, but he left his lower body behind. Take out the stuff and chop it up, and feed it to the dogs. A trace of disdain flashed in Mingye's eyes. I didn't expect to let this dog run away, but it doesn't matter. The monk can't run away from the temple if he runs away. Just clean him up later. Then, Mingye turned to Fugaku and said, Itachi came to your room today. Fugaku's body trembled, and a pained look appeared on his face. Unexpectedly, his best son actually wanted to attack him. Mingye, I am the patriarch of the Uchiha clan. Fugaku left after saying this, leaving Mingye behind. Hey, it's good to be able to see clearly. Mingye sighed, since Fugaku said that he is the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, he must put Uchiha first. Since his son actually did such a rebellious thing openly, according to Uchiha's family rules, 10 times of Itachi's death is not enough. However, Mingye still has to take care of Fugaku's mood, so naturally he won't kill him. He casually ordered 2 ninjas to deal with Itachi, who was still unconscious on the spot, and Mingye immediately arranged for the Uchiha tribe to restore and rebuild the spot. Although the Uchiha tribe did not suffer any losses this time, a lot of buildings were still collapsed. At this moment, looking at the sky, there is a trace of fish belly white. The faces of the 4 people in Hokage's office also became somewhat relieved. If nothing else, Kakashi should be cleaning up the battlefield now. Advertisement Danzo almost had the word greed written on his face. Dozens of Sharingans were already waving at him. With these Sharingans, Danzo would have dozens more lives. It's just that the other 3 are waiting for the 3rd generation to speak. After all, the 3rd generation is still the village leader in name. Compared with the joy on other people's faces, 3rd generation didn't have much excitement on his face, but a trace of deep worry flashed in his eyes. 3rd generation used to contact a special forbidden technique, which can perceive the chakra fluctuations in the surrounding environment extremely sharply. In the middle of the night, 3rd generation sensed a huge energy fluctuation in the direction of Uchiha. Although it was very weak, the momentum was unmistakable. In the entire Konoha village, there is probably no one who has the ability to send out such fluctuations. The only possibility is that mysterious person, the guy who calls himself Uchiha Madara. At this time, Mitokado Homura of the advisory group couldn't bear it anymore. Hiruzen, how about going to the Uchiha tribe together? Danzo and Utatane Kaharu stared closely at 3rd generation, apparently they also wanted to go to the Uchiha tribe. 3rd generation didn't reply. The expression on his face was cloudy and uncertain, and the terrifying fluctuation always gave him a very bad feeling for you. Let him have some palpitations. He even wondered if there would be any accidents when he went there at this time. Looking at the elders of the 2 advisory groups next to him, a sinister look flashed in 3rd generation's eyes. I can't go. If I go now, it will make other people suspicious. What am I, a Hokage, running to the Uchiha tribe's land early in the morning? In order to prevent others from suspecting that this matter is related to me, you go first, and then notify me on the grounds of discovering an abnormal situation. The expression on 3rd generation's face was very serious, and the words he spoke were also very sincere. Utatane Kaharu gave a disdainful smile, and looked at 3rd generation with a sneer on his face. Hiruzen, you're really getting back from life, you have to save face at this time. Mitokado Homura had the same look on his face. Obviously, the 2 think that 3rd generation still wants to protect his White Lotus at this time. But the expression on Danzo's face was a little weird. He knew too well that he was an old man, so he retreated at this time. I'm afraid there must be some unknown reason for this. One side is the temptation of the Sharingan, and the other side is the anomaly of the 3rd generation. Danzo became tangled up in his heart, and the expression on his face kept changing. Advertisement, since you don't go, Sarutobi, then I definitely can't go. If I go, other people will probably think it was done by the root. Sarutobi, you have a good plan. I will take the blame for you, and you will be a good old man. Danzo finally decided to trust his intuition. Anyway, they had agreed before that all the corpses of the Uchiha clan belonged to him. 3rd generation and Danzo looked at each other, and they both saw their thoughts in each other's eyes. Afterwards, both of them had weird smiles on their faces. 3rd generation said immediately, I'd better trouble you 2 to go there, and then pass back the information, and I'll be there soon. After all, the 2 of you don't have the power to destroy Uchiha, and you won't be suspected. Danzo also nodded. Apparently these 2 old bastards were going to push Mitokado Homura and Utatane Kaharu into the hole. It would be great if nothing happened, and the reason for the 2 of them is also hard to find fault with. If something happens, let's regard these 2 people as fighting to the death for the village. When the time comes, 3rd generation will avenge these 2 people. Mitokado Homura sneered, and looked at 3rd generation and Danzo with contempt. Since you don't want to go, let me go, but when Uchiha's power is divided, I must give priority to both of you. Choose. 3rd generation nodded kindly, looking like a good old man. Danzo continued to keep silent. He was not interested in Uchiha's power. This time his goal was only Uchiha's body. After seeing 3rd generation's agreement, the 2 disappeared into the office in a blink of an eye, heading towards the Uchiha clan. After the 2 left, Danzo looked at 3rd generation indifferently, but didn't say anything. 3rd generation sighed and did not speak. He and Danzo are not really close friends, and both parties may stab each other at any time. In the office, it fell silent. Neither of the 2 spoke, just quietly waiting for the news ahead. 049. The Grieving Elders, the 3rd generation's calculations open black lens bracket seeking flowers close black lens bracket. Utatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura didn't notice anything strange, their faces were full of excitement. Especially Utatane Kaharu, an old woman who was transferred to bed, with a very ruthless face and gnashed teeth. Ever since he got hammered by Mingye last time, he has always held a grudge against Uchiha. Now she can't wait to see the scene where the Uchiha clan's corpses are strewn across the field. As soon as Luffy moved forward quickly, the two immediately felt that outside Uchiha's clan, they happened to meet Kakashi, who was guarding this place. The two immediately stepped forward and asked, "Kakashi, how is the situation of the Uchiha clan?" Kakashi, who was still thinking about Naruto, saw the two elders of the advisory group coming, and immediately replied. "Currently there is no movement in the enchantment, and I haven't seen Itachi return." The brows of the two suddenly frowned. According to the original plan, Itachi should have cleaned up everything by now, and it was only right to come back and have a round with Kakashi. Is there nothing wrong with it? Such a thought emerged in the hearts of the two of them at the same time. Ekaharu immediately denied this idea. Impossible. Uchiha Mingye is not in the group. How could Uchiha Fugaku alone be able to stop it? Kakashi, open the barrier, the two of us will go in and check. Yes. Kakashi turned around and formed several very complicated seal knots backwards, and a portal as tall as a person appeared on the black barrier immediately. Ekaharu and Midokado Homura immediately walked through this portal. Afterwards, the portal was quickly closed. There was only an absent-minded Kakashi still looking at Naruto's business. The two who entered the barrier immediately noticed the abnormality. Looking at the collapsed house not far away, Ekaharu immediately showed a touch of satisfaction on his face. Only the Uchiha family was unlucky. Then he will be happy. It would be better if Uchiha Mingye died tragically in front of him, then he would be happier. Midokado Homura immediately said, "It's not right, there are still Uchiha clansmen active over there." Ekaharu was shocked when he said this, and his face immediately changed drastically. Yesterday was going to exterminate the clan. There are still Uchiha tribesmen alive, so doesn't that mean that the extermination of the tribe has failed? The Uchiha family must have cards they have never seen before, otherwise it is absolutely impossible to survive this wave of genocide plans. Advertisement, isn't it dangerous for them to stay here now? In case the whole card finds out that they're here, will they just regard them as the same group last night and kill them immediately? The expressions of the two of them changed immediately. Wow. Woof. Woof. At this moment, a dog barked suddenly. The brows of the two twitched immediately. Why is there a dog at this time? Immediately afterwards, the two saw a scene that terrified them. I saw Mingye riding a two-headed magic dog that was as tall as a person, rushing towards them, with a bright smile on his face, as if seeing an old friend. The two of them immediately had their scalps exploded. Why is this Uchiha Mingye here? The ninjas in the village clearly saw that Uchiha Mingye had left the village, and the secret whistle along the way also found traces of Uchiha Mingye's departure. Moreover, the two-headed magic dog that Uchiha Mingye was riding seemed to be grabbing some meat in its mouth. The two of them took a closer look, and were immediately frightened out of their wits. What the dog was biting was actually a person's lower body. The two-headed magic dog exerted force on both heads, one left, one right, and the lower body was torn apart immediately, blood and flesh splattered everywhere. The cows were torn in two. In a secret space, the seriously injured Obito only felt a phantom limb pain. The two of them could even clearly see that the fangs of the two-headed demon dog directly bit an egg, and it was bloody, very penetrating. Run! Ekaharu screamed. Even a fool would know that Mingye didn't come to play with them. If it really fell into Mingye's hands, the lower body in the mouth of the two-headed dog might be their end. The two immediately ran towards the direction they came in before, only hating their parents for giving them two missing legs. Mingye was also taken aback looking at the two who turned around and ran away, and then said with a smile. "You two are in such a hurry, why don't you rush to see Amaterasu God tier? How about I give you a ride?" Then, he slapped the double-headed magic dog's asterisk, and the magic dog slammed forward in pain. This two-headed demon dog is the summoning beast of a tribe in Uchiha, which was temporarily lent by Mingye. The lower body before is naturally Uchiha Obito's. If you want to be honest when you come out, if you say you want to feed the dog, you must feed the dog. As soon as these two old things came in, Mingye found out, and rushed over with the dog immediately. Let the dog eat up today. After hearing Mingye's words, the two running ahead were frightened to death. The elders of the dignified Konoha advisory group would have fed the dog in the end. Advertisement, then the fun will be great. If it is really spread, I am afraid they will be written in the history books and ridiculed for 10,000 years. Seeing the enchantment in front of them, the two immediately showed a smile. As long as they escape from here, Kakashi will be the queen for them. At that time, they were fleeing back and re-planned to destroy Uchiha. Ekaharu hurriedly said, "Homura, hurry up and use what the third generation gave you to open the barrier." Midokado Homura immediately took it out of his arms and took out a special bottle, which contained some special chakra that could temporarily melt the seal of the enchantment. This was also given to them by third generation before they came, and they specifically told them that this thing is not easy to make, so don't use it lightly. Midokado Homura felt warm in his heart. Third generation still considered them. He threw the bottle in his hand on the black barrier, and the bottle broke immediately, and a green chakra appeared. The two looked expectantly, waiting for the exit to appear. After waiting for a while, the enchantment did not respond at all. The scene suddenly became awkward. Damn, the shitty thing actually lied to me. Midokado Homura swears suddenly, his face is full of anger. Third generation actually played a trick on them in this regard. Ekaharu immediately muttered, "No wonder they didn't come, we were cheated." Reminiscent of the rejection of third generation in Danzo before, the two immediately despaired. That's right, this is also the calculation of third generation. If everything is normal and the Uchiha family is exterminated, then the two of them will come out directly with Itachi. Itachi knew how to break the seal. If there is an accident, there is no need for these two people to come back. The power under the two men is not small. Moreover, third generation doesn't like someone to take away their rights. This is the calculation of the third generation. 050. Death of Uchiha Ekaharu, Mingye fed directly to the dog. Mingye, who was played later, looked at the two bluffing people in front of him, and suddenly became a little confused. However, he was not interested in talking nonsense with these two old things, and with another slap, the double-headed devil dog under his crotch turned into a black lightning and rushed towards the two. At this moment, when the two heard the roar of the magic dog behind them, 3 souls came out of their bodies and 7 souls ascended to heaven. Immediately ran to the edge of the barrier, bombarded the barrier vigorously, and finally called Kakashi continuously. Now Kakashi is their last hope. It's a pity they were desperate. At the beginning, this enchantment could even block Mingye's fire-style Great Fireball technique with a layer of strength. And third generation said that this thing can withstand a blow from 9 tails head-on. How could it be possible for these two old fellows of mediocre strength to break through so easily? As for the sound, it is even more impenetrable. As long as the barrier is opened, the inside and outside are completely isolated. Of course, it is true for others. Not so for Kakashi, who is responsible for opening the barrier, which contains his chakra. He can have some weak sense of enchantment. If the current Kakashi is on the alert and perceives carefully, he will be able to hear the cries of Uchiha Ekaharu and Midokado Homura. It's a pity that Kakashi is still thinking about Naruto's problem, and he hasn't rested for several days, so his mind is not on the enchantment at all. In this way, the spatial distance between Kakashi and the two is only 1 or 2 meters. But the distance of 1 or 2 meters seems to never be crossed. The two immediately despaired. At this time, Mingye also came close to the two of them. Looking at Uchiha Ekaharu and Midokado Homura, who looked desperate, Mingye smiled brightly and said, "You two, it's almost time to get on the road." The two-headed devil dog under him opened its mouth wide, and a stream of stinky saliva sprayed directly on the faces of the two of them. The two looked at the minced meat in the mouth of the magic dog, and a look of horror appeared on their faces. Don't kill me, I don't want to die." Midokado Homura immediately fell to his knees, tears and snot all streaming down his nose. With a panicked look on his face, he doesn't look like an elder of the Konoha advisory group. Seeing Midokado Homura who kept kowtowing, Mingye suddenly felt a little bored. If the two resisted, Mingye might still have some interest. After all, what's the point of attacking two people who don't resist? Mingye's eyes turned to Uchiha Ekaharu, who was on the side, and looked at her with a playful face. After noticing Mingye's gaze, Uchiha Ekaharu's body trembled, and his body immediately went limp. He looked at the sky in despair. Advertisement, he's just greedy, not stupid. According to his understanding of Mingye's behavior style, it is absolutely impossible for him to let himself go today. Rather than wishing to die like Midokado Homura, it would be better to die with dignity. Mingye couldn't help but take a look at this woman. She can face death calmly, she can be regarded as a character to some extent. Wow! The magic dog below roared, and the huge sound wave directly shook the heads of the two of them blank. Uchiha Ekaharu, who was originally expressionless, immediately peed in fright. That's right, it literally means, scared to pee. Mingye immediately gave her a contemptuous look. She was indeed a soft-legged shrimp. Afterwards, Mingye didn't talk too much nonsense, and patted the two-headed magic dog directly, signaling that it was time to serve dinner. The two-headed demon dog roared excitedly, biting a person with one head. The two of them didn't even resist. It seemed that they were scared out of their wits by Mingye. Immediately, the two-headed magic dog ran back with its own food, ready to find a place where no one was around to enjoy it. These two old things are not even interested in letting Mingye do it. Ah! The screams were endless. At this time, Kakashi outside the barrier seemed to have sensed something. It seems that there is a dog barking again. Kakashi wondered to himself. Then, as if he remembered something important, he should go in with the two elders of the advisory group. Why did you stay outside alone? What if something happens to the two elders? At this moment, Kakashi is still thinking about protecting Konoha's senior management. After all, he hasn't got a definite answer yet. Open. Kakashi made several very complicated gestures. A portal with a height of 1 person appeared on the barrier again. Afterwards, Kakashi rushed in directly, ready to see what was going on inside. He also had no idea what was going on with the Uchiha clan. It's just that as soon as he entered, he seemed to hear something screaming, very shrill. Then, Mingye was found standing here. Advertisement. Kakashi's face was also shocked. He had asked before, Mingye should be on a mission, why did he appear here? You must have lost that bitterness. Mingye glanced at Kakashi with admiration, and he was indeed a rare normal person in Konoha, who dared to report the news at this time. Kakashi was also calm, nodded and admitted directly. Master Mingye has met the two elders, Uchiha Ekaharu and Midokado Homura. Mingye shook his head, with an indifferent look on his face. Who knows, maybe it was eaten by a dog. Kakashi's mouth twitched. Was eaten by a dog? If this is true, I am afraid that he, the elite Jonin, the captain of the ambush squad, will be gone immediately. He might even receive a more severe punishment. Master Mingye really knows how to joke. Mingye glanced at Kakashi and didn't explain anything. Although he admired Kakashi, Mingye was not interested in explaining to others. Seeing Mingye's expression, Kakashi suddenly had a bad idea in his heart. Mingye probably didn't lie to him. I thought I heard a dog barking before. Could it be that the two elders were really eaten by dogs? Hurry up and remove this enchantment, it's annoying to see. Mingye said directly to Kakashi, and then the figure disappeared. He has no interest in wrangling Kakashi here right now. Kakashi, who was still sluggish in place, looked a little hesitant. Do you want to report your conjecture to Hokage-sama? Kakashi is hesitating, but after a moment, Kakashi dropped the idea. After all, I have no evidence and no witnesses in my hands. Go out and tell people that the two elders who are two of the four people with the highest power in Konoha were eaten by dogs, who will listen to themselves. Third generation may think of themselves as mentally ill. 051. Excited Orochimaru, Mingye's eternal Mangekyo open black lens bracket for flowers close black lens bracket. At this time, Mingye returned to the Uchiha clan. Turning to Orochimaru who changed his face, he said, have you finished reading what I showed you yesterday? Orochimaru on the side immediately became excited. After reading it, it's a new world. Mr. Mingye, you really are a genius, you can think of such a powerful thing. At this moment, Orochimaru looks excited, and he has learned more in the past few days than he has learned in the past few decades. I am even happier today than when I learned ninjutsu for the first time. Mingye nodded in satisfaction. In fact, he just gave Orochimaru sorted out the contents of Blue Star's high school biology textbook. It's no big deal, but after these things fell into Orochimaru's eyes, Orochimaru was stunned. It turns out that there are so many things in the cells. Cells are actually the same as people, and they also have various organs. What determines the limit of blood inheritance is actually something called DNA. The DNA not only records the limit of blood inheritance, it even records when I will die. The most important thing is that I only need a few pieces of glass to match to see these things. These things directly overturned all the theories that Orochimaru had originally explored by himself. And, the gate of a new world was placed in front of his eyes. If Orochimaru just succumbed to Mingye's strength before, now Orochimaru has worshipped Mingye from the bottom of his heart. This person's knowledge of the world far exceeds his own. If I follow Mingye closely, I am afraid I can gain more knowledge. Orochimaru's heart couldn't help trembling. He felt that what he had been pursuing seemed to be right in front of him. The general can be touched at any time. Mingye shook his head. I didn't invent these things, I just recorded them. Telling the truth has always been Mingye's style. What's more, Mingye did not discover this thing, he just made a transfer station and taught these things to Orochimaru. Orochimaru looked disbelieving. Mingye-san, you are too modest. In the entire ninja world, I dare say that no one understands the essence of life better than me. But compared in front of Mr. Mingye, I feel ashamed, I am so ashamed. Mingye looked at Orochimaru with a look of admiration, shook his head and didn't continue to explain anything. Advertisement worship is worship. Let's go, let's send our new patients to Konoha Mental Hospital with me. Mingye opened the door of the side room and walked in directly, followed by Orochimaru. The will of fire, alone, Abba. Itachi had woken up in the room. It's just that now chakra is sealed and people are tied to pillars. With a demented look on his face, he muttered something crookedly. The saliva from the corner of his mouth trickled down his clothes to the ground, looking mentally handicapped. Mingye was a little puzzled. Why did he become like this when he woke up? Was the blow too big? Can't accept it? Then go crazy. Or, is it too hard to do it yourself? Slapping too hard. Straight to the brain. Mingye nodded. Maybe it was the sage body that he had just fused with Senju Hashirama. Our Konoha Psychiatric Hospital, patients are like this, they're crazy, and they like to talk about the will of fire. You will be responsible for treating them in the future. Orochimaru next to him was a little puzzled immediately, how to treat this. In the past, Konoha had such people. Many people who suffered brain injuries during the war had this symptom. In the end, without exception, they all died. You forgot that I told you about brain problems. His problem must be brain problems. You find a way to save it yourself. After all, this is also a member of my Uchiha clan. As for whether you want to have a craniotomy or use drugs, that's up to you. Just don't kill me. Orochimaru frowned suddenly, with a strange expression on his face. Craniotomy? Is this really saving lives? Killing doesn't have to be so cruel? But since Mingye had spoken, Orochimaru didn't say much and nodded immediately. Let's go, put him in a sack, gag, and transfer him to Konoha Mental Hospital. I'm introducing you to another patient. Advertisement. After some busy work, Mingye brought Orochimaru and Itachi tied up in a sack to the Konoha Mental Hospital. What reward will this second admitted patient bring to Mingye? Mingye directly threw the weasel in the sack together with the sack. Ding! The second patient Uchiha Itachi was successfully admitted to Konoha Mental Hospital. Congratulations to host for getting a chance to draw a lottery. Close black lens bracket. Mingye nodded. Use it immediately. A colorful turntable immediately turned. Ding! Congratulations to host for getting an Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Synthesis card. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Synthesis card. Draw the power of a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. Upgrade the host's Mangekyo Sharingan to Eternal Mangekyo. Close black lens bracket. Note. The double pupils of the drawn person will return to normal pupils, and they will never be able to open Sharingan again. Close black lens bracket. Mingye smiled in satisfaction. This is what the system should do. With Sage Body providing Mingye with a steady stream of chakra and resilience, now the eyes have been upgraded to Mangekyo. Then Mingye can use Sharingan unscrupulously without worrying about the sequelae. Use the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Synthesis card now. A card that only Mingye could see appeared in his hand, and then he flicked it at the Itachi in the sack, and the card disappeared into nothingness. When it reappeared, only a red light flashed through the sack, and then immediately appeared in Mingye's eyes. Orochimaru next to him was startled, and the red light immediately caught his attention. Just when he was about to go and have a look, Mingye had already opened his eyes, and a dazzling red light flashed. Don't look at it. Orochimaru's forward steps immediately froze in the air. But since Mingye opened his mouth, Orochimaru could only give up his actions. From now on, you will be the attending doctor here, and you will be in charge of treating the two patients inside. Remember, don't kill me. Afterwards, Mingye left the place directly. 052. Tsunade debuts, third generation, who dare not explain, asking for flowers, asking for a monthly ticket. In Hokage's office at the moment, third generation and Danzo looked at each other without saying a word. The atmosphere is a little dignified. Uchiha Ikaharu and Mitokata Homura have been away for so long and haven't come back, maybe something happened. Third generation said inwardly on his face, sure enough, I guessed right, something happened to the Uchiha clan. It's just that no one from the Uchiha direction has returned yet, and the two of them don't know what the situation is. Danzo seemed a little anxious. This is related to his Sharingan collection plan. Without Sharingan, it would be a great loss for him. Sarutobi, how long do we have to wait? Danzo couldn't bear it any longer, and spoke first. Third generation twitched his big eyes a few times, and looked at Danzo calmly, without the slightest fluctuation in emotion. Wait. Danzo frowned, but didn't say much, but I have to admire the patience of my old comrade in arms, in my heart. Report. At this time, a voice from outside the door immediately broke the silence in the office. Third generation frowned, and immediately let go of his clenched palms. He didn't even realize that his hands were already soaked in sweat. It seems that third generation's heart does not want to be as calm as it appears on the surface. Come in. The door opened and Kakashi walked in. Report Master Hokage, the mission failed. There are still people from the Uchiha clan alive. Third generation sighed, and as expected, something went wrong with the Uchiha tribe. What about the two elders, Uchiha Ikaharu and Mitokata Homura? Kakashi shook his head blankly. The two elders disappeared after entering the barrier. Third generation's heart sank. You tell the situation in detail. The thing is like this. After I set up the enchantment, I have been waiting outside. I didn't see any movement from inside until dawn. Then the two elders came over. I let go of the barrier and let the two elders in. There was no news. Finally, the subordinate saw that something was wrong, and immediately opened the barrier to go in to find the two elders, but happened to meet Uchiha Mingye. Upon hearing this nightmare-like name, third generation's heart constricted violently. Why did Uchiha Mingye appear there? Didn't he go out of the village to hunt Orochimaru? Did he give up halfway and sneak back? Danzo said in disbelief. Advertisement. Third generation's face was gloomy. If this is the case, dare to give up the mission assigned by the village casually, it is simply disobeying the rules. At this moment Kakashi hesitated, and immediately took out a scroll. Unfold. One shot. Orochimaru's corpse immediately appeared in the office, with a smile on his face, as if mocking third generation. This is what Mr. Mingye asked me to bring, saying that he has completed the task. Kakashi lowered his head, not daring to look at third generation's face. The old face of third generation immediately turned purple. He is Orochimaru's master. How can he not know what Orochimaru has? Changing your body is as easy as drinking saliva. So what can such a corpse show? Also, what does the smile on this dead body mean? Are you mocking him? Danzo's face was also gloomy. Where's Itachi? Uchiha Itachi is a gold medal player he cultivated, and he is going to make him his right-hand man in the future. If he really died in the Uchiha tribe for no reason like this, then he would really hate that the child could not be tied to the wolf. As a result, the wolf disappeared and the child also disappeared. The bamboo basket fetches water in vain. Kakashi replied. I have never seen it. The hearts of the two suddenly sank to the bottom. Uchiha Mingye appeared, and none of the people they sent came back. What does this mean? This mission failed again, and this must have something to do with Uchiha Mingye. Uchiha Mingye, okay. Okay. Third generation suddenly laughed out of breath, and finally repeated the name Uchiha Mingye over and over again, as if wishing to eat its flesh raw. Seeing this scene, Kakashi below seemed to recall the night when the fourth generation died. The third Hokage in front of me is really the third Hokage who was dedicated to the village. Kakashi fell into deep doubt. Boom. Suddenly, the door was violently kicked open. The three of them were startled. Could it be that Uchiha Mingye had called over? Otherwise, who would dare to kick the door of Hokage's office like this? Why did you call me back? I thought you were going to die, old man. A roar of the East Lion came from the door immediately. Golden hair, a diamond-shaped imprint in the middle of the forehead, exquisite facial features, an unrestrained expression, and strong pectoralis major muscles on the chest. This person is none other than Tsunade. Advertisement. At this moment, Tsunade was extremely angry. When the old lady was still playing at the poker table, she received a secret letter from the village. I thought there was some major event in the village, so I ran over in a hurry. Speaking of the results, you all acted like nothing happened. Why are you still laughing and praising Uchiha Madara? Is it really easy to bully when I am an old lady? Seeing the angry Tsunade, third generation was relieved and even a little happy. Tsunade is one of the Sannin, and his strength is extremely strong. As Tsunade's teacher, Tsunade is on his side no matter what. When the time really comes into conflict with the Uchiha clan, Tsunade will definitely be a powerful assistant. Most importantly, the necklace on Tsunade's chest contains a powerful sealing technique that can seal 9 tails. Third generation ignored Tsunade's doubts, but said with a worried face, "You came back just in time, and now is the time when the village needs you. Perhaps, a battle will break out in the village soon." Seeing third generation's worried expression, Tsunade was a little confused. Doesn't the village look good? I haven't heard of anyone going to attack Konoha outside. Why are you going to fight? Third generation shook his head and didn't explain too much. Of course, he couldn't explain it either. I can't say that I wanted to destroy the Uchiha clan, but I didn't succeed in the end. Now I'm afraid that the Uchiha clan will resist. If he really said it out, I am afraid that his apprentice will be the first to stand up and turn against him. You must take good care of that necklace. After all, it is something left by Lord First Hokage. In the future, you can live in the village now, and you can play however you want. Third generation said if interested. Tsunade was still a little confused before. Why did he talk about the necklace? Isn't this just an ordinary decoration? But after hearing the words behind third generation, his eyes lit up immediately. If she said what she lacked the most right now, it was without a doubt gambling money. If she had money, she could continue to gamble. As for other things, she doesn't care. 053. Meet Tsunade. An angry Tsunade open black lens bracket beautiful flowers close black lens bracket. Early this morning, Mingye set off for Konoha Psychiatric Hospital with the microscope he made. This thing is also one of the items promised to Orochimaru before, and Mingye will make some things for Orochimaru that have never existed in this world. Looking at the high-power microscope in his hand, Mingye couldn't help but sigh, maybe the development paths of the two worlds are different. In the world in the past, people did not have chakra, so they could only do everything possible to use external forces to continuously develop some new tools. But in this world, people with chakra in their hands are obviously unwilling to study these extraneous things. There is even an intention to suppress the scientific spirit. Orochimaru's methods are indeed cruel, but Orochimaru's spirit is unquestionable. Science and technology are the primary productive forces. However, Mingye thought of another thing. After the young little Sasuke knew the truth, his heart ached so much that he passed out directly. He can't accept his favorite brother, the pride of the whole family. He actually rebelled at this time, and wanted to attack their family. He was so frightened that he passed out. When I woke up again, one Tomo Sharingan was already on. I don't know whether to be happy or sad. Walking and walking, Mingye has rushed from the Uchiha tribe to open black lens bracket Konoha Psychiatric Hospital close black lens bracket. The door. It's just that at this time, there seems to be some noise at the door. Mingye took a quick look, and it seemed that a woman was arguing with her guard. Taking a closer look, Mingye was pleasantly surprised. This woman was actually Tsunade. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Tsunade bristled with rage, and couldn't hold back his anger. Just now she saw with her own eyes a person with a similar build to Orochimaru walking in, and these people actually said that there was no Orochimaru here. If it weren't for the fact that everyone is a member of Konoha, Tsunade would have done it directly. However, Tsunade's patience is almost exhausted now. I saw Tsunade grab 2 guards, held one in each hand, and threw it to the 2 sides. Although the 2 guards wanted to resist, they could only be thrown in a mess. How could they fight against one of the Sannin, the king of monsters, Tsunade? At the same time, Tsunade clenched his right hand into a fist and raised it high, ready to punch the gate hard, blast it open, and rush into search for Orochimaru. Mingye frowned. Good guy, smashing my door in front of me. The figure exploded, leaving an afterimage on the spot and disappearing immediately. When she reappeared, Mingye had already appeared behind Tsunade, holding Tsunade's wrist with one hand, and fixed her right hand in the air. Realizing that someone dared to grab his wrist, Tsunade's expression froze, and strange power surged in his body immediately. Immediately, her elbows were facing the back with a bucket, and she wanted to let these people know today that the whole Konoha would not be found if she dared to stop her aunt. Even, she was still thinking about whether she should put in a little effort. After all, she was a companion in the same village, so there was no need to be cruel. Advertisement. Mingye is a head taller than Tsunade, so it's easy to hold Tsunade's wrist. Of course, he knows Tsunade's strange power. But, is Mingye afraid of competing for power now? There was a playful look on Mingye's face, and at the same time he was injured and exerted force slowly. Tsunade frowned, and found that his hand was still tightly held by the person behind him, as if being clamped by an iron clamp. It's only been a few years since I left, and there are such powerful people in the village. The desire to win and lose in her heart was immediately activated, with a fighting spirit on her face. Although he hasn't seen who the person behind him is, Tsunade has already developed a strong interest in him. Nice power. Mingye's playful voice came from behind, and the hot breath he exhaled seemed to touch Tsunade's jade neck directly. A dense layer of goosebumps immediately appeared on its smooth skin. Tsunade frowned immediately. There was still someone who dared to tease him, seeing that it was impossible not to teach the person behind him a lesson. Afterwards, chakra surged wildly in his body, and a steady stream of power immediately came from his body. Tsunade's waist was pressed back, leaning directly on Mingye tightly, and the other hand firmly grasped Mingye's hand. Kick back with your left foot and push your hips back. Prepare to make Mingye lose his center of gravity directly. Obviously, Tsunade is going to give Mingye a shoulder throw, and teach Mingye a lesson. A weird smile appeared on Mingye's face when he noticed Tsunade's thoughts. Over-the-shoulder throws can only be used by people with similar strength to yours. Can a child over-the-shoulder fall move an adult? Get up, Tsunade yelled, pulled his hands forward desperately, and pushed his waist back with all his strength. Quote. A gust of wind blew by, and the scene was a little awkward. The imagined scene did not appear. Tsunade was dumbfounded. What's going on? Why is there no movement behind? Could it be that there is a mountain behind? Nice power, good posture. Mingye immediately praised him. The posture of the two of them at this moment is really not elegant. In order to throw Mingye out, Tsunade's waist almost presented a 90-degree right angle. Both hands tightly grasped Mingye's right hand, allowing it to rest on his shoulder. Then, because the waist was too far back, the hips were tightly attached to Mingye's body, without a single gap. The sluggish Tsunade immediately came to his senses, and at the same time realized that his posture was not right. Advertisement. His face turned red immediately, he immediately let go of Mingye's right hand, and leapt forward. A few steps away from Mingye. At this time, I can finally turn my head and take a closer look at Mingye. After seeing clearly that it was Mingye's face, Tsunade's face turned even redder. So handsome. With a slender figure, sword eyebrows and star eyes, a firm face, and a special temperament lingering. Although he didn't know Mingye inexplicably gave him a kind of intimacy from the depths of blood. But Tsunade is also a woman who has killed people on the battlefield after all, so naturally she will not be like a little girl. With a normal expression, he looked at Mingye with an unkind expression. You dare to tease me? How dare you stop my old lady from doing business? Teasing. I'm just stopping you from the beginning to the end, telling you not to cause damage. Everything is your own action. What does it have to do with me? Mingye said calmly. Tsunade frowned, thinking to himself, good guy, he looks handsome, but sharp teeth are not a good habit. But what this person said seems to be correct, he really didn't do anything. But it is impossible for my old lady to let you go like this. Sabotage. I'm on an S-level mission to capture Orochimaru, which delayed my big event. Can you bear the responsibility? Mingye looked at Tsunade like a fool. Don't you know that Orochimaru has been killed? The body was sent to Hokage's office yesterday. The whole village knows it. Tsunade's face turned rosy again, but this time she was not shy, but shy. Orochimaru has been captured. Wouldn't it be a big joke for the person in front of him to take what he did just now? However, Tsunade then shook his head again. He knew Orochimaru's strength. How could he just die like this? If you need it, I suggest you go inside to see the mentally ill. I know the boss inside, and I'll give you a 50% discount. Mingye pointed to the Konoha psychiatric hospital next to him, and said kindly. Tsunade's complexion was cloudy and uncertain. Tsunade was a little angry at Mingye's teasing, but thinking that he seemed unreasonable, it was difficult to start. Moreover, the most important thing now is to verify the situation. Is Orochimaru really dead? HMPH, wait for me. After putting down a harsh word, Tsunade flicked his golden ponytail and left directly. 054. Some wrong Tsunade. Gloating Orochimaru open black lens bracket flowers close black lens bracket. After leaving, Tsunade found Kakashi full of doubts. As Anbu's ninja, Kakashi knew a lot about these things. After a careful chat with Kakashi, Tsunade was shocked. That man just now was actually Uchiha Mingye. This man who used to be as famous as them but disappeared later. Due to the distribution of combat missions in the past, the battlefield in charge of the Uchiha clan has always been separated from Tsunade. Tsunade has never met Mingye, but has only heard of the name. But I didn't expect to meet for the first time under such circumstances. However, Tsunade was even more shocked that Orochimaru's corpse was brought back by Mingye. Tsunade, who was Orochimaru's teammate in the past, of course knew that the so-called corpse was just a joke. As long as Orochimaru is willing, I am afraid that hundreds of such things can be produced. But since Mingye can bring back such a corpse, then he must have been in contact with Orochimaru. Then, the back I saw that day must be Orochimaru. Tsunade is immediately clear. Konoha Psychiatric Hospital is Mingye's territory, and Mingye has intersected with Orochimaru, so the similarity to Orochimaru's back can't be a coincidence, right? Thinking of this, Tsunade raised his brows, and immediately thought about going to Konoha Mental Hospital. He wanted to see what Mingye could say this time. And at this moment, in Konoha Psychiatric Hospital, a miraculous scene is taking place. See, there are actually things in the cells, so many things I haven't seen before. It's amazing. See Gui, this microscope is amazing. Orochimaru looked at the picture inside the cell under the microscope with amazement on his face. Mingye smiled slightly, nodded slightly and did not speak. Although there is glass in this era, This group of people obviously does not have enough understanding of glass, and their understanding of optics is not sufficient. So it is normal to not come out of the microscope early. At this time, Tsunade, who rushed over, also heard the voice of the people inside, and his expression changed suddenly. Push the door open and walk in. Orochimaru, you are not dead. Orochimaru looked at Tsunade, who suddenly barged in, with a startled look on his face, but he settled down again after thinking of Mingye beside him. Mingye looked at Tsunade with interest, and said playfully, why are you here again? Are you still trying to smash my door? Advertisement. Tsunade's face froze, and he immediately took the conversation away. Uchiha Mingye, you dare to cover Konoha's S-class rebellious nin Orochimaru, do you know what the consequences are? If Lord Hokage finds out, do you know what kind of punishment you will receive? Tsunade, who just came back, obviously hasn't figured out the current situation in the village, nor Mingye's position. Mingye suddenly asked suspiciously, Orochimaru, did you make a mistake? Didn't I hand over Orochimaru's body to Hokage? Then who is he? Tsunade pointed to Orochimaru beside Mingye. He is my attending doctor here, Orochi 9. Mingye said it as a matter of course, with a serious look on his face. At this moment, Orochimaru is wearing a white coat, medical gloves, a blue medical mask on his face, and a green surgical cap on his head. Perhaps only Tsunade, a comrade in arms who once fought side by side with Orochimaru, can recognize it. Tsunade's face immediately sank. Are you kidding me? Do you really think she is a fool? Can he still recognize Orochimaru's size? Mingye shook his head regretfully. Then there's no other way. The third generation admits that Orochimaru is dead. You can't even believe Hokage. Seeing Mingye with a smile on his face, and Orochimaru hiding behind Mingye, Tsunade's face suddenly became gloomy. She is also one of the Sannin anyway, when did she suffer from this kind of anger? His face darkened suddenly, the blue chakra all over his body suddenly surged, and the Baihao imprint on his forehead also began to flicker. The look of a violent start at any time. Seeing Tsunade like this, Orochimaru burst out laughing inwardly. He still doesn't know what strength Mingye is. He himself almost died under Mingye's fists. If Tsunade is really out of his mind and going to fight Mingye here, then Orochimaru wouldn't mind a good show either. Mingye snorted suddenly, seeing that you have a bit of medical talent, if I give you a little sunshine, you really shine brightly in front of me, right? Today, as long as you dare to fight, you will die. A terrifying murderous aura immediately pervaded the entire house, directly overshadowing Tsunade's chakra power. Even the temperature seems to have dropped by more than 10 degrees. It was sunny outside, but the two inside the room were like falling into an ice cellar. A horrified expression appeared on Tsunade's face, his heart trembled unceasingly, and traces of fear rose continuously from the depths of his heart. Can such a terrifying chakra power really be possessed by humans? Even the Nine-Tails demon fox back then is nothing more than that. Advertisement. In her memory, it seems that she has never seen such a terrifying human being. Listening to Mingye's words without the slightest emotion, Tsunade was very sure that as long as he dared to make a move, he might really die here. Swallowing with difficulty, Tsunade immediately took chakra back, with a difficult smile on his face. Mingye, you see, I am not someone who likes to fight. Seeing Tsunade's pale face, and even trembling hands behind his back, Orochimaru immediately smiled gloatingly. What could be happier than seeing such an expression on the face of your extremely proud teammate? Mingye snorted coldly. Remember, there will be no next time. After that, the frightening coercion disappeared immediately, the sun shone into the house again, and the temperature rose back to the original level. As if nothing had happened. Tsunade let out a long breath, and his face finally returned to normal. Mr. Snake 9, I hope to have a chance to have dinner alone with you. Tsunade took a deep look at Mingye, wanting to remember this man in his bones. Such a strong man, in her memory, seems to be only first Hokage. Then, he turned around and walked out. Wait a moment. Mingye stopped Tsunade. Then he threw a microscope aside. Go back and study this carefully. I still lack a vice president here. If you are interested, you can come here. Mingye's face returned to a calm look again, as if nothing had happened. Tsunade was startled, but after hearing what happened next, she immediately felt aggrieved again. Just now he was threatening others with death or life, but now he acted like it had nothing to do with him. But Tsunade didn't dare to stay too long, and left the place directly after taking the microscope. 055. From now on, you, Tsunade, are mine. Tsunade left the Konoha psychiatric hospital. The more he thought about it, the more wronged he felt. Who dared to speak to him like that since he was a child? When he was young, he was surrounded by first Hokage's grandfather, who would dare to be fierce to him. Second Hokage loves him even more. When he grew up, he had a master named Third Hokage behind him, and his talent began to show, and his strength grew extremely fast. Who would dare to give him face? Those who dare to give him face are only enemies on the battlefield, and the end of this person is very miserable. However, only this Mingye dared to scare him like this. I have to say, I am afraid that it is difficult for people who have only read the original work to imagine that Tsunade will have such a little girl side. But in fact, Tsunade is also a woman, and she used to be very gentle, but in order to maintain Hokage's majesty, she had to show her strongest side. But on weekdays, when he didn't become Hokage, Tsunade was still unwilling to do so. After returning to the residence, Tsunade directly threw the microscope Mingye gave him aside, not interested in studying it at all. After taking a shower, I went to sleep beautifully. However, at night Tsunade had a nightmare directly. The dream was very special. He actually dreamed that Mingye smiled at him, and opened his arms, waiting for him. Tsunade unexpectedly opened his arms unconsciously and rushed up, but when he was about to touch it. Wake up! Tsunade, who was sleeping on the bed, immediately clamped his legs in disbelief. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Tsunade gritted his teeth and said. The reason is naturally very simple, because he has never seen a man like Mingye. There are not many men around her who can be compared with him, but the only two men are both strange. Orochimaru is not nearly feminine. Jiraiya is too horny. Moreover, Tsunade thinks he is no worse than these two people, so he has never had any feelings for them. So, Tsunade has been single for so many years. But Mingye is different, she can feel that Mingye's strength is very terrifying, and even has the feeling of facing her grandfather, Senju Hashirama. Most importantly, he is so handsome. Strong and handsome, who doesn't like it? If I had met Mingye sooner, maybe Kato Dan wouldn't have mattered. At this moment, Tsunade suddenly remembered the thing called a microscope that Mingye gave him. Out of curiosity, Tsunade immediately got out of bed and fiddled with it. But I don't know if I don't look at it, I'm startled when I look at it. Tsunade was immediately taken aback by the little thing in his hand. Advertisement. I kept zooming in just now, zooming in and out. First I saw the cells, which is fine, Tsunade already knew about the existence of cells. Furthermore, Tsunade actually saw the scene inside the cell. Although it was a little blurry, he still saw some unusual things clearly. She found that the cell was actually like an egg, and there was something like egg yolk inside. This discovery was immediately shocking. As the best medical ninja in the world, Tsunade understands how shocking what he saw would be to the whole world. Tsunade couldn't help murmuring. What kind of man is he? Looking at this exquisite gadget in her hand, she only felt that she was about to fall. In the past, the ninja world did not have things similar to microscopes, but the magnification was very limited, and it was not easy to see cells. But Mingye unexpectedly came up with a better thing that surpassed the ninja world for hundreds of years. Handsome, strong, and knowledgeable. Why is there such a perfect man in the world? She felt like she was going to fall. Early the next morning, Tsunade rushed to open black lens bracket Konoha Mental Hospital close black lens bracket. The look on his face was a bit haggard, and he didn't sleep well last night. In the first half of the night, I had S**X dreams, and in the second half of the night, I was directly shocked by Mingye's microscope and couldn't sleep. But Tsunade carefully dressed up today, but she also covered it up. Remembering what Mingye said about recruiting the vice president, Tsunade ran over directly. No matter from that point of view, he couldn't find a reason to refuse. For the sake of publicity, she will definitely be able to get closer to the essence of life by following Mingye, and medical ninjutsu will definitely make a qualitative leap. For the sake of selfishness, she is also willing to get closer to a man like Mingye in the exam. Who doesn't like such a man? This time, Tsunade chose to knock. Bang bang bang. Come in. Inside, Mingye is discussing with Orochimaru how to treat Shisui, whether it is better to open the cranium or use high-voltage electrical stimulation. The two have yet to reach a conclusion. After hearing someone knock on the door, Mingye observation haki swept away and immediately found Tsunade. Mingye immediately looked at Tsunade jokingly. Don't kick the door this time. I saw Tsunade in Orochimaru's shocked look. Tsunade actually showed a shy look, and his face turned red for a rare time. After looking at Tsunade, a sentence suddenly appeared in Mingye's mind. Advertisement. Your son's pectoralis major is so exaggerated. Shaking his head inwardly, he threw out some irrelevant thoughts. Would you like to be my vice president? Mingye asked straight to the point, although Tsunade is really good looking, but Mingye has no interest in talking nonsense with Tsunade. After all, women will only slow down my ability to draw a knife. Women are evil. Mentioning this brought Tsunade back to his senses immediately. I agree, but Mr. Mingye, you have to teach me these physiological knowledge and led me to explore the origin of life. I want to improve my medical ninjutsu. Mingye frowned. Why did this sound so strange? Okay, since you have come to be my vice president, then this knowledge should be considered as your reward. However, I have to say my ugly words first. From now on, you, Tsunade, are my Mingye's people. As soon as Mingye said this, Tsunade was stunned. Was it so direct? Don't you let me think about it. Tsunade immediately showed a coy look on his face, with his hands behind his back, his two thumbs kept circling. Seeing Tsunade's expression, Mingye also knew that the other party had misunderstood. In the future, you will be my Uchiha Mingye's people first, and then you will be Konoha's people. Everything must be respected by me and obey my orders, understand? Mingye added. Tsunade was suddenly embarrassed. It turned out that he had misunderstood it, and he didn't mean it at all. While I was relieved, I also felt a little disappointed. However, he immediately became worried. But, Hokage-sama is my teacher, Konoha is also very important to me. Tsunade said hesitantly. A hint of ridicule flashed in Mingye's eyes. Is it interesting to work for your enemy? As soon as these words came out, all four were shocked. 056. Kakashi's arrival, I'll take you to Nine Tails. The smile on Tsunade's face froze immediately. He looked at Mingye with suspicion in his eyes. Mr. Mingye, what does this mean? As an adult with normal IQ, how could he fail to understand the meaning of Mingye's words? However, she couldn't believe what was in it. Mingye shook his head. Don't you understand? How did the Senju clan disappear? How did your brother die? It's all said and done. If Tsunade still can't understand, then Mingye can't help it. After all, you can't wake up someone who's pretending to be asleep. Tsunade smiled reluctantly. Is Mr. Mingye really joking? In fact, how shrewd Tsunade is as one of the Sanin, what Mingye said actually she already felt. It's just that I have been unwilling to believe it, so I hid out with the excuse of fainting blood. Tsunade couldn't believe that the village of Konoha Shinobi, which he fought so hard to protect, looked like this. So I've been escaping from reality. In the original book, it was also heard that the third generation died in battle, so she was willing to come back. This time, if the third generation hadn't lied to her about the imminent battle in the village, she would not have come back. However, Mingye now puts this reality in front of him nakedly. Mingye shook his head and didn't say anything more. In the same way, he didn't like to explain again. But Orochimaru on the side spoke. I heard that the ninja named Orochimaru likes to do human experiments, but guess how he did it inside Konoha village, in plain sight. Also, I heard Orochimaru say that third Hokage once said, compared to the Uchiha family, the Senju family is the most terrifying, and their strength has improved too quickly. Naturally, Tsunade knew that this person was Orochimaru. Now what Orochimaru said is tantamount to directly verifying Mingye's statement. Yeah, how could Orochimaru conduct experiments in the village without high-level support? And the subject of the experiment was actually a ninja. You know, even in Konoha, the largest village in the ninja world, there are not many ninjas, most of them are just ordinary people. Whether it is a captive or a ninja from one's own side, it must have been recorded in detail and must be re-examined regularly. How could it be secretly used by Orochimaru for experiments? As for the second sentence, it's even simpler. The Uchiha family needs to be stimulated to open Sharingan, and a family member will die or something. Ordinary clansmen without opening their eyes are no different from ordinary people. Advertisement. But the Senju family is different, their physique does not need to be stimulated to awaken. Even the clansmen with poor physique, the chakra in their body is far better than ordinary people, not to mention the outstanding people. Therefore, the Senju family is far more terrifying than the Uchiha family, and it is expected that they will be wiped out first. Tsunade remained silent, apparently still trying to avoid the subject. Mingye didn't open his mouth either, and he didn't bother to explain much. Bang bang bang. At this time, the door rang again. Come in. The door opened, and it was Kakashi who walked in. Looking at the three people inside, Kakashi smiled immediately, and after seeing that there were no outsiders, Kakashi Haziji spoke. Mingye-kun, I'm here because of Naruto's business. Mingye raised his eyebrows. It's been so long, haven't you found the answer yet? According to the identity of Kakashi Anbu Ninja, it should be relatively easy to search for some information, although most of the information has been destroyed by third generation. But after all, we can find some clues. Kakashi said with some seriousness. I found some information, but I still want to verify it with Mr. Mingye. Mingye suddenly sighed helplessly. Okay, then I'll tell you directly. Before 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato died in the battle, his wife Shinjina gave birth to a son, and this child is still alive and healthy. Tsunade raised her head immediately, and the topic immediately piqued her interest. After all, he is still Namikaze Minato's uncle and, in name. Namikaze Minato is Jiraiya's apprentice. She and Jiraiya worshipped under third generation at the same time. Isn't it the relationship between uncle and nephew? When she heard that the fourth generation was killed in battle, Tsunade was also sad for a while. After all, she was very fond of Sunshine's nephew. Now I heard that the fourth generation actually has a child. Tsunade was shocked immediately. Didn't third generation say that the child died in a certain battle? Is there something I don't know about it? Mingye ignored the shocked Tsunade, and continued. This child is Uzumaki Naruto, who has been regarded as a monster by the people in the village because of the 9 tails sealed in his body. Being squeezed out, eating expired instant noodles, living in a dilapidated and damp house, living alone. Advertisement. Tsunade's heart skipped a beat. The child who sealed 9 tails is actually the biological son of the fourth generation. She seems to have discovered something incredible. Why did third generation hide all this back then? I didn't expect that. For the sake of the village, I sacrificed the lives of my husband and wife, and the hero's son was treated like this. Isn't it ironic? Mingye looked at the two with interest. He wanted to see what expressions they would have on their faces when they heard this. Kakashi's expression is still the same as usual, but it's a little heavy. After all, he has investigated it privately before, and the conclusions he came up with are almost the same, but he is not sure. Now that Mingye said this, everything would make sense, and the evidence he found before could also be colluded. Tsunade looked a little sad, but there was a last trace of doubt in the sadness. After all, Mingye said everything alone, and it is impossible for Tsunade to completely trust Mingye now. Kakashi said with some hesitation. Mr. Mingye, the evidence I have investigated is not perfect. I wonder if Mr. Mingye has anything to prove this fact. Everyone who saw the 9 tails and the fourth generation fight with their own eyes died. The fourth generation couple, die. The guards around the third generation, die. Only 3 are still alive, Naruto in baby state, and 3rd generation. And, Nine-Tails Demon Fox. Kakashi really has no way to prove it, 3rd generation doesn't say it, Naruto doesn't remember it, and Nine-Tails Demon Fox can't find it. Tsunade also looked at Mingye nervously, she hoped that Mingye would show evidence to prove everything. But she was also afraid that Mingye would show evidence, and the last fig leaf in her heart would be torn away. Mingye smiled slightly. Of course I don't have the evidence. The two were immediately disappointed. Mingye immediately said, but, I can take you to Nine-Tails directly. The two looked shocked, and went directly to Nine-Tails. This is too beautiful. 057. Nine-Tails reappears in the world, Mingye's terrifying power open black lens bracket first order close black lens bracket. Looking at the surprised expressions on everyone's faces, Mingye could also understand, after all, in the hearts of these people, I'm afraid the Nine-Tails Demon Fox is an extremely terrifying existence. But in Mingye's heart, the current Nine-Tails Demon Fox has no deterrent power at all. Mingye took the lead and flew away in the direction of Naruto, leaving behind several people on the ground looking at each other. Why can he fly? Everyone was dumbfounded. After all, in the world of Hokage, flying ninjas are really rare. Stronger than first Hokage and has no ability to fly. Looking at the entire ninja world, those who can fly without relying on summoning beasts are counted as 1 for fighting wild trees, and 1 for Gaara controlling sand. The only others are Madara, Obito and others who have acquired the power of 6 paths. Therefore, it is normal for them to have this reaction. In Tsunade's heart, his curiosity and awe towards Mingye became stronger, this man is really beyond his medical skills. Kakashi knew it in his heart, no wonder the opportunity to kill Uchiha failed that day, with people like Mingye around, it's no wonder it succeeded. There was a sneer on Orochimaru's face, and he cursed secretly in his heart, 2 bumpkins. I have completely forgotten the scene of panic when I was caught walking in the sky by Mingye for the first time. Several people looked at each other, they could only keep jumping on the roof, chasing Mingye's direction. After a while, the worker spotted Mingye in front of him. Mingye stared at a residential building in front of him. Get out, I don't sell my ramen to monsters. Why do monsters like you live in the world? If it weren't for that fox, the village wouldn't have suffered such a big loss. You should die to make amends to the village. An unknown ramen shop owner abused the young Naruto severely, with a look of disgust on his face. There is even an urge to do it. Little Naruto tightly held a few coins in his hand raised in midair, which was the money he saved with great difficulty. Today is his birthday, so I want to buy a bowl of ramen for my birthday. But, obviously, little Naruto's ideas fell through. The owner of this ramen shop not only refused to sell him 743 noodles, but kept abusing him. Little Naruto's light blue pupils trembled slightly, trying not to let his eyeballs fall down. Gritting his teeth tightly, he said, I'm not a monster. Although young, but also extremely strong. At this time, the owner of the ramen shop was directly angry, but he didn't expect that the fox kid would dare to speak back. He picked up the rolling pin in his hand and smashed it hard at Naruto. Naruto immediately averted his eyes, and habitually raised his left hand to the top of his head. However, after a long time, the imagined pain did not come. Looking up, he saw a person standing in front of him. This person is Mingye. Mingye's face was extremely cold, this scene reminded him of some bad things. In the past, there seemed to be some incidents in the Blue Star, where after the heroic soldiers died in battle, the descendants of their families were bullied. It's just that Mingye in the past is just an ordinary person, and has no ability to change everything. But it's different now, and he has the ability to change. Son of a hero, no insults allowed. Mingye looked cold, and these words came out word by word from the innermost part. A terrifying murderous intent immediately burst out from Mingye's body. The owner of the ramen shop holding the rolling pin immediately showed fear on his face, and his legs trembled faintly. Looking at Mingye with a look of horror, what are you? Boom. It's a pity that before the words were finished, the person flew out directly. After smashing the tables, chairs and benches behind him, and breaking through a wall, there was no sound. After doing this several times, the unknown fire in Mingye's heart still hasn't disappeared. Clenching a fist with his left hand, a white halo immediately surrounded it, and a trembling breath came from it. Big brother, don't. Just when Mingye was about to punch out, a voice stopped Mingye from moving. Advertisement. Looking back, only to find that Naruto was pulling the edge of his trousers, looking at him unbearably. He has been punished enough, and the guards are coming soon, you better run. There is no trace of magazines in the light blue pupils, so pure it makes people feel distressed. For some reason, seeing Naruto's appearance, Mingye's inner anger slowly calmed down. You may say that Naruto is aggressive, mouthy, and the protagonist's aura, but Naruto's sunny mentality is unquestionable. At this time, Tsunade Kakashi Orochimaru also followed. See, this is the treatment of the son of a hero, this is the Konoha you have been guarding, and this is where the will of fire dances. Mingye looked indifferent, and there was no trace of emotion in his voice. The faces of several people were also very gloomy, and their hearts were even more horrified. When Tsunade saw the little Naruto now, she had a familiar feeling when she compared the face of the 4th generation with the child in front of her. Tsunade was speechless for a moment. This similarity can no longer be explained by coincidence. Do you want to know who your father is? Mingye looked at the worried Naruto and said softly. Sure enough, He was a kind child, and he was still worried about him until now, afraid that when the Konoha guard came, he would be taken away. Little Naruto's expression froze, and a hint of disbelief flashed in his eyes. Brother, do you know who my father is? Seeing the look of expectation in little Naruto's eyes, Mingye nodded slowly. Your father is a hero. His name is Namikaze Minato, the fourth Hokage. Mingye pointed to the fourth head on the Hokage rock in the distance. Little Naruto was stunned for a few seconds, his eyes were full of shock, and then he immediately shouted. Impossible. Didn't they say I was a monster? If my father was Hokage-sama, why did they wrong me? Mingye didn't reply, but looked at the rock statue of fourth Hokage with some emotion. You sacrificed your life to protect the village. But, is it worth it to end up with the only child you left behind? Brother, did you really lie to me? Mingye looked at Naruto whose eyes were full of tears, and nodded slowly, his eyes full of sincerity. Afterwards, Naruto couldn't bear it directly, and the tears burst in an instant. Among the few people behind, Tsunade, who was the only female, also had red eyes, with faint tears appearing. Mingye sighed softly. Let's go, I'll take you to see Nine Tails. A burst of purple light curtain opened, and everyone was dizzy. When he opened his eyes again, he found that he was already in a dark and damp dungeon. The light in the entire dungeon was very dim, and there was a layer of accumulated water below the feet that reached the ankles. Looking forward, a huge prison door immediately appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The door was made of light golden pillars. There is a yellowed talisman paper in the center of the prison door, the lines on it can be vaguely seen, and a seal is impressively written on it. And an evil and resentful breath came from behind the prison door. Maybe it was noticed that an outsider broke into the inside, and some pink blood-red foam began to seep slowly behind the prison door. More and more bubbles, faintly piled up to look like a fox. Then, the foam fox's head slowly opened, BFDD, a pair of blood-red eyes. A terrifying murderous aura immediately came from it. Kakashi in the back was shocked when he saw this look, and he found that some evil thoughts in his heart were slowly expanding. What kind of terrifying creature is this? The red pupils slowly focused and finally settled on Mingye. Compared with the huge reminder of the foam fox, Mingye and others are not even as big as one of their pupils. When these eyes were focused, a fierce resentment immediately rushed from them to everyone's faces. Even Tsunade and Orochimaru who are Sanin are a little scared. Mingye still had an indifferent look on his face, and was not affected by it in any way, but just stared at everything in front of him indifferently. Huh, a surprised voice came out from behind the prison door, and a trace of human surprise flashed in the fox's pupils. Advertisement. There are not many people who can remain unchanged under his gaze. People from the Uchiha clan, what an annoying smell. A deep voice slowly came from behind the prison door, and there seemed to be some disgust in the words. Little Naruto was a little frightened at the moment, his eyes were wide open, but his pupils shrank slightly. Seeing such a terrifying monster for the first time obviously made him a little panicked. That's the Nine-Tails fox inside you, and one of the reasons why you're ostracized by the people in the village. Mingye said lightly, as if there was a special force in his voice. After hearing this, little Naruto's emotions gradually calmed down, and the fear on his face disappeared. Hey, do you know my father? Naruto pointed forward with his right hand, with a questioning look on his face. Mingye raised his eyebrows. He really has a big heart. His body was trembling with fear before, but after a little relaxation, he started to make trouble. Kakashi at the back also tightened his expression when he saw the unrestrained Naruto, and immediately moved forward to block in front of Naruto. If Naruto is really the only heir left by his teacher, even if he dies here, he will protect Naruto well. The seriousness of the bubble Nine Tails flashed a hint of surprise. You are the consciousness of this body. You really have a lot of guts. Then, a terrifying and evil force immediately came from Nine Tails' eyes, and the strong wind directly blew away the water under everyone's feet. Snort. With a cold snort, like the Nine Heavens' wrath, he directly defeated Nine Tails' attack head-on, and his power remained undiminished. The bubble Nine Tails exploded in an instant under such terrifying power. The evil aura that was lingering around it disappeared immediately, and the feeling of depression disappeared immediately. In the entire dark room, it seemed that the light was brighter. Mingye stared at Nine Tails behind the prison door with a slightly cold gaze, and dared to pretend to be a ghost in front of me, reckless. Kakashi gasped heavily immediately, his eyes were full of horror, the pressure that Nine Tails brought to him was too great. He seems to understand why his teacher sacrificed back then. Who are you? A suspicious voice came from behind the prison door immediately, the voice was full of astonishment. There should not be many people with such strength in the world. You are not qualified to speak here. Mingye's face was expressionless, and his voice was steady, but with an unquestionable meaning. Immediately behind the originally dark cell door, two faint red lights appeared. Then, gradually turned into two eyes, but the pupils were completely blood red with resentment. The pupil stared at Mingye firmly, and an invisible coercion immediately appeared in the dark room. Under this coercion, Kakashi even felt a little difficult to breathe. After the pressure lasted for a while, it suddenly disappeared. The huge pupils also slowly closed. The people behind were shocked immediately. The legendary Nine Tails demon fox was so frightened by a single sentence that he flinched immediately. Orochimaru had no choice but to raise Mingye's strength by another level in his heart. Who in the world can stop this kind of power? There was a strange look in Tsunade's beautiful eyes, even the grandfather of the year was nothing more than that. In a word, quit Nine Tails. This kind of demeanor is rare in the world. Mingyi's expression was indifferent, and he looked at the huge seal in the middle of the prison door calmly. In it, besides the chakra used for sealing, he also felt a special chakra. If I guessed correctly, it is Namikaze Minato. Don't you want to come out and meet your son? As soon as Mingye said this, Kakashi's eyes twitched wildly. There were only a few of them in this huge place. If anyone present is most likely to be the son, it must be Naruto. Could it be that today, not only can we see Nine Tails, but also the legendary fourth Hokage? 058. When the contract is reached, Nine Tails roars to the sky. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. The voice fell, and there was a dead silence in the dark room. Several other people stared at Mingye nervously, although they wanted to ask if Mingye was joking. How many years had the fourth generation been dead, and they had even seen the corpse of the fourth generation with their own eyes. How is it possible to see the fourth generation again? Unless the dead are resurrected. But on this occasion, they can only hold back the doubts in their hearts. After a while of silence, the talisman paper with the word seal on it twisted immediately. Well, I knew that such a day would come, but I didn't expect it to come so soon. A figure came out from the middle. Blonde hair, light blue pupils, wearing a Hokage cloak, with a hexy smile on his face. This person is none other than Namikaze Minato. Everyone looked at this figure, and their eyes suddenly became excited. Little Naruto even had tears in his eyes, although he was still not sure if he was related to the person in front of him by blood. But the throbbing that comes from the depths of the blood is unmistakable. Perhaps, the father he had been looking for a long time was standing in front of him at this moment. Orochimaru and Tsunade's emotions were fairly stable. After all, they could be regarded as people who have seen strong winds and waves. Their emotions were not too excited, and they just nodded at Minato. Kakashi rushed forward and knelt down in front of fourth generation. Teacher. His face was full of excitement, and even his hands trembled slightly. Fourth generation smiled gently. It's Kakashi. They are already so tall. At the same time, he patted Kakashi on the shoulder with his hand. After the two briefly greeted each other, their eyes refocused on Mingye. After fourth generation looked at Mingye slightly for a moment, a bright smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect that after I left, such a strong man would appear in the village again. What a happy thing. Seeing Namikaze Minato's still bright smile in front of him, Mingye was deeply moved, and then pushed Naruto forward who was hiding behind her. Meet your son. Tsunade and Kakashi watched the fourth generation nervously. They hoped to hear an affirmative answer from the innermost part of the fourth generation, but they did not want an affirmative answer. Heart is very tangled. If Naruto wasn't a child of the fourth generation, then everything would be over and the village wouldn't be as dark as they thought. If Naruto is the child of the fourth generation, then the fourth generation can have a child to stay, and they are naturally very happy. However, this issue does not illustrate the darkness of the village in disguise. The two watched silently without saying anything. Naruto has grown so tall. With a warm smile on his face, fourth generation stepped forward to touch Naruto's head. I haven't seen my son for many years, so I miss him very much. Some people are happy and some are sad. The father and son here want to see each other, but Kakashi and Tsunade on the other side just feel dizzy. It was dark in front of his eyes, and he almost passed out directly. Naruto is really the child of fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato. So why does third Hokage hide this truth? Why let the children of fourth Hokage grow up amidst the discrimination and exclusion in the village? Is it true that as Mingye said, everything was manipulated by the third generation in secret? Suddenly, a surprising scene appeared. Naruto dodged the fourth generation's hand directly, and ran behind Mingye, looking at the fourth generation angrily. Fourth generation's hand touching Naruto immediately froze in midair, and the smile on his face also froze. Looking at Naruto with a look of surprise, he said in disbelief, "That's so much, why?" Naruto didn't speak, just grabbed Mingye's clothes tightly and looked at fourth generation resentfully. Hey, Kakashi, explain yourself. Mingye shook his head, he could understand Naruto's thoughts. Advertisement. The grievances, exclusion, and discrimination received over the years have all been attributed to fourth generation by Naruto. After all, Naruto is too young now, and he doesn't understand many reasons. He only knows now that he is the son of fourth Hokage, but he is regarded as a monster in the village. Naruto has resentment in his heart, he complains why the fourth generation is Hokage, but he has such a difficult life. Therefore, the current fourth generation is actually regarded as an object of venting by Naruto. Kakashi hesitated, and he didn't know how to say some words. But after a while, Kakashi still gritted his teeth and said, Naruto is regarded as a monster in the village, and has been isolated by people. Eating expired instant noodles, living in a dilapidated and damp house. When we came to see Naruto today, he was almost beaten by people in the village. Later, Mr. Mingye instructed me to come and find Naruto. After Kakashi finished speaking, fourth generation was furious. But he still forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart, gritted his teeth and said, what about third Hokage? I entrusted him to take care of Naruto back then. Kakashi suddenly sighed. Third Hokage has never said this to the outside world. Boom. An unknown fire rose from the depths of fourth generation's heart, and the surrounding water was immediately washed away by the terrifying momentum. But what followed was that a huge sadness enveloped the fourth generation in an instant. I ran all my life for the village, and even sacrificed my life in the end. As a result, third generation couldn't even take care of my son. Naruto, I'm sorry. I am sorry that you, the fourth Hokage, have been wrong so much. Fourth generation's face was a little gloomy, he really couldn't imagine how Naruto got here all these years. Kakashi, I hope you can help me take care of Naruto in the future. Kakashi nodded immediately. Don't worry, sensei. This should be Uchiha Madara. I'm really glad that Konoha has a strong man like you, who prevented the village from splitting up in time. Fourth generation once again turned its attention to Madara. After Kakashi's narration, the fourth generation also understood Mingye's identity, and at the same time had a certain understanding of what Mingye did. Mingye nodded calmly. No matter what you decide to do, I just hope you don't hurt the ordinary people in Konoha, after all, they are innocent. At the last minute, fourth generation still has Konoha village in mind. Mingye also had to admire this point, at least he couldn't sacrifice his life for the village, and even after knowing how the people in the village treated his children, he could still think about the village wholeheartedly. Afterwards, the body of the fourth generation began to dissipate slowly, and there was not much chakra left in the past, and it could not persist for too long. Well, no matter what, I hope you grow up healthy and happy. A warm smile appeared on fourth generation's face, and then slowly dissipated into the air. Naruto suddenly became anxious, rushed out from behind Mingye, and ran towards the direction of the fourth generation. Unfortunately, the figure of the fourth generation has completely disappeared into thin air. Okay, everyone, the time for reminiscing about the past is over, now it's time to get down to business. Mingye clapped his hands and focused everyone's attention on himself. They were not brought to this place for anything else. The first is to let Tsunade completely give up his naive thoughts, and honestly be the vice president for himself. Second, it is for the unfinished mission, the ugly third generation. Although the third generation won't come to trouble me anymore, but I still have to complete this task, otherwise where will I get the reward? Wouldn't it be a great opportunity to release this Ninetales now, if Ninetales were released to confront third generation? At the same time, Naruto's identity was directly exposed. It is estimated that this task can be successfully completed. As for whether Ninetales will mess around after going out, there is no need to worry about this. Mingye moved forward, and immediately disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of the prison door. Kurama, how about we make a deal? Mingye's voice echoed in the empty dark room, everyone looked at Mingye suspiciously, not understanding what he was going to do. At this time, in the dark seal, those blood-red pupils full of killing once again appeared on the Minister of Darkness. I let you out, but you need to testify to me about one thing. Advertisement. A trace of doubt flashed in the blood-red pupils, let him out so easily. In fact, the Nine-Tails demon fox is not really afraid of Mingye, it's just that it's sealed inside, so it's futile to say more, so Nine-Tails doesn't want to talk too much nonsense. Asking for flowers. 0. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, you know it. After hearing this name, a flash of memory flashed in the blood-red eyes. In Naruto's body, Nine-Tails has seen third generation many times, so he is no stranger. Afterwards, the pupils became bigger and bigger, and a huge fox head slowly emerged from the shadows. It seems that the flame of resentment is burning on the body, and it looks very scary. Humans, state your purpose. Mingye smiled slightly. It's very simple, you just need to tell what you know, how the third generation planned Naruto, and Naruto's identity, and it's done. So you're willing to let me out? Are you? Sure, sure. Nine-Tails' voice was slow and deep. In this dark seal, it is always looking for when it will be able to get out, so it pays special attention to the movement of the outside world, to see if there is a chance to break through the seal. As long as Naruto doesn't learn how to use chakra to limit Nine-Tails' field of vision, Five-Tails can see the specific situation of the outside world through Naruto's eyes. So it is also very clear what the third generation is doing. Even the attitude of the people in the village towards Naruto is very familiar. Nine-Tails has been waiting for Naruto to grow up, and then tells Naruto these things, hoping to use these things to control Naruto's emotions, directly blacken Naruto, and let Naruto break the seal. But the current Naruto is too young, he can't even condense chakra, and he can't even enter the seal, so there's no way to break the seal. 0. If Mingye can tear the seal directly, then there is no need to wait for Naruto to grow up. A hint of emotion flashed in Nine-Tails' eyes, but he still had doubts. Human, how do you guarantee what you say? Mingye smiled coldly. I don't need to promise anything, as long as you promise, I will release you directly, and you are the one who needs to guarantee. Nine-Tails was shocked, how could someone be so stupid? Let him out without restricting him. Really think he Nine-Tails is a kitten? There was a hint of mockery in Nine-Tails' eyes, it seemed that this was just another guy who came to tease him. Okay, I promise in the name of Nine-Tails, as long as you dare to lift the seal, I will testify for you. Mingye chuckled, a trace of mockery flashed across his face. Meanwhile, the Anbu ninja who was previously in charge of monitoring Naruto returned far behind Mingye and the others. Immediately went back and reported the situation to third generation. After third generation heard that Mingye led a group of people to find Naruto, his heart sank immediately. Although I don't know why Mingye went to Naruto, but no matter what, the Nine-Tails in Naruto's body must not be released. Once Nine-Tails has any problems, I'm afraid his Hokage will be over. After all, If Nine Tails came out, the village would be gone, so why would he be a Hokage? Moreover, Naruto's identity must never be exposed, once the identities of the fourth generation's parent and child are exposed. So how should he explain all this to the Konoha people? Damn. Third generation cursed angrily. Originally he planned to train another, Namikaze Minato, as his successor. This candidate is Naruto. Originally planning to live a few more days, third generation went directly to deliver some delicious food to Naruto, and slowly developed a relationship with Naruto. At that time, Naruto will naturally trust him and be willing to believe in the will of fire, and then there will be another powerful ninja who can fascinate the village to death. Then his third generation's rule will be longer. However, this Uchiha Madara disrupted everything. The furious third generation immediately sent someone to inform Danzo, and he immediately changed into a combat uniform. Now the situation can no longer allow him to hide behind the scenes. If he is not careful, he will be ruined. 059. Revealing Naruto's identity. Panicking third generation open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Please order close black lens bracket. Just when Mingye was about to make a move, Kakashi behind him rushed in front of him immediately. Master Mingye, the seal of Nine Tails must not be broken. Once Nine Tails breaks free from the seal, it will be a catastrophe for Konoha. Although Mingye's strength is extremely overestimated, I have personally seen Mingye dismiss Nine Tails with just one word. However, Nine Tails is in the seal after all. It's hard for Kakashi to imagine what would have happened if the Nine Tails were free. Can this kind of thing really be controlled by humans? At least Kakashi himself can't imagine that anyone can do it. Unless you're a ninja god like Senju Hashirama. Is that Mingye? Kakashi can't be sure, but what Kakashi can know is that it's better not to let Nine Tails out. Even if it's to expose the third generation, it's not worth it. Tsunade at the back also had the same expression, looking at Mingye worriedly. Although he didn't speak, Tsunade's attitude was obvious enough. Orochian was silent. He didn't care whether Nine Tails came out, it had nothing to do with him. After all, he was under Mingye's command now, not Konoha's. Just follow Mingye's orders. After the seal, Nine Tails also watched Mingye nervously, even though he said that Mingye was playing with him. But what if it is true? It's about your own freedom, it's impossible for Nine Tails not to be nervous. Looking at Kakashi in front of him, Mingye smiled. Do you know how Nine Tails was sealed in the first place? Kakashi and the others were stunned for a moment. Who doesn't know this? Dangrang was sealed by Konoha first Hokage in the Senju Pillar, 257, and this thing has remained in Konoha ever since. But, what does that have to do with what I said? Kakashi had question marks all over his head. No, a flash of inspiration flashed in Kakashi's mind, and a thought that horrified him popped out. He can seal Nine Tails too. At this moment, Tsunade also understood the meaning of Mingye's words. No one understands the horrors of Senju Hashirama better than her. A person who changed the course of the world directly ended the era of the family and opened the era of the ninja world with the village as the unit. A person who only deters the entire ninja world with his own strength. When he was alive, the ninja world did not dare to have war. The one who created Konoha. Doesn't Mingye's words now mean that he is comparable to Senju Hashirama? At this moment, Nine Tails also understood, and his blood-red pupils were immediately filled with anger. For him, it is a memory that he does not want to recall, being manipulated by Uchiha Madara, losing his mind and body control. It was picked up by Senju Hashirama with one hand like a puppy, and finally sealed into the human body. Nine Tails' history of humiliation. Roar. You brat of the Uchiha family, you managed to s me off. There was a roar, as if shaking the sky and the earth. A terrifying temperature immediately came from the seal, and the accumulated water in the dark room seemed to be boiling. Constantly tumbling, constantly bubbles emerging from the water. Kakashi immediately ran forward and hugged Naruto. This temperature may not matter to them, but it is fatal to Naruto. Mingye squinted at the angry Nine Tails. If chakra of Nine Tails has an attribute, it must be fire attribute. And it's not an ordinary fire attribute, at least Mingye has never seen that fire attribute ninja can do this, and it directly caused this effect with chakra. Looking at Nine Tails who looked like a demon, the people behind him were immediately stunned by the terrifying power. But Mingye is still watching everything indifferently, without the slightest fluctuation in his eyes. Don't you want to be free? As soon as these words came out, the crazy Nine Tails immediately calmed down. Blood-red pupils stared at Mingye, eyes full of murderous intent. Humans, the contract is still valid. Advertisement. A smile appeared on Mingye's face. Okay, I'll give you back your freedom. Taking a step forward, he immediately tore off the seal of Nine Tails under the horrified eyes of everyone. Afterwards, a monstrous force appeared directly among the leaves. Roar. The terrifying demon fox with 9 tails roared towards the sky. His eyes were full of excitement. How long has he not seen the sky? This time, it will never be sealed again by anyone. How many years have passed? Madara is dead, Hashirama is dead, and Namikaze Minato is also dead. Now there is no one in the world who can stop him from regaining his freedom. Roar. 9 tails kept roaring, venting the joy in his heart, even the hair on his body seemed to be shiny. However, the ordinary Konoha people who saw this terrifying scene at this moment were stunned. At this moment, not many years have passed since the last 9 tails siege, and many people even survived the last 9 tails siege. Seeing this terrifying scene again at this moment, everyone immediately panicked, the scene was chaotic, and screams continued. Some people even rolled their eyeballs upwards, revealing their white eyes, and passed out directly. Fainted. Ah, Nine-Tails Demon Fox reappeared, it's over. Run, hurry up and call Hokage-sama, only Hokage-sama can save us. Everyone, run to the Hokage building, there is only one place to save us, hurry, ah. The ninjas who were originally on duty in this area were also full of disbelief, and even wondered if they had been hit by an illusion. Damn it, is it an illusion? When did someone tamper with it? Did you see it? It's actually a group illusion, the enemy is not easy, everyone be careful. Quick, use the chakra scroll now. The chakra scroll is nothing unusual, it is just a kind of sealed chakra, which can be released immediately when needed, which can effectively suppress some group illusions. After all, with a wider range of action, the force exerted on a single body will naturally be much weaker. What? It didn't work. All the ninjas were horrified, such a terrifying illusion, and it was a group illusion. What is the strength of the coming people? Knowing that the strong wind brought by Nine-Tails' tail flicked a ninja to the ground and vomited blood, everyone was shocked to find that it was not an illusion. So, what is in front of you is a real Nine-Tails demon fox. Looking at the huge monster that covered the sky and the sun, everyone would rather be under the illusion than face such a terrifying Nine-Tails demon fox. Quick, go and report to Master Hokage. At this moment, third generation, who was on the road, was in a very bad mood. He took pictures of the ninja who went out to find Danzo and came back. But Danzo didn't come along. Danzo actually disappeared while playing with him at this time, and third generation looked very ugly. At this time, Danzo still wants to let them both lose, and he takes advantage of it later. Third generation couldn't help cursing inwardly. When this matter is resolved, I will deal with you personally. As long as Uchiha's problem is solved, there will be no power in the village that can fight him anymore. At that time, there will be no need for the black gloves of Danzo. He, third generation, must personally send Danzo on the road. Unfortunately, a roar immediately interrupted third generation's thinking. Looking up, third generation once again saw the scene that he will never forget for the rest of his life. The demon fox roared to the sky, its 9 tails fluttering wantonly. At that time, it was this thing that directly tuned Namikaze Minato, which it had cultivated for a long time, to waste, so that he had to stand on the bright side again. Now, I actually saw this scene again. The third generation was suddenly terrified, his eyes widened, and his pupils trembled slightly. However, the imaginary scene of Nine Tails vandalism, houses collapsing, and purgatory on Earth in Japanese movies does not seem to have appeared. After the roar, Nine Tails just sat there quietly, and did not act aggressively. Similarly, countless people who were frightened by this scene also found something unusual. Everyone immediately stopped running away, and looked at the huge demon fox in the sky with doubts and fear. Advertisement. Nine Tails' blood-red pupils glanced indifferently at the little ant below, eyes full of disdain. Normally, these weak human beings are almost like bugs in his eyes. If he didn't offend him, he wouldn't even bother to look at them. However, Nine Tails' casual gesture made all the crowd below jump, thinking that Nine Tails was about to launch an attack. However, after observing for a while, Nine Tails seemed to have no intention of moving at all. Take a closer look. In the sky, there is a small black dot. Next to Nine Tails' huge head, it seems to be a person. Mingye looked at Nine Tails, who was sitting on the spot in front of him, and there was not a trace of surprise on his face. He was prepared to use force to force Nine Tails to submit. Uchiha kid, I never break my promise. Since I promised to testify for you, I will definitely do it. However, after making the certificate, he. As they talked, Nine Tails showed a row of shiny and sharp teeth. Under the sunlight, they emitted bursts of cold light, which made people feel chills. Mingye chuckled. Okay. As if he didn't sense the murderous intent in Nine Tails' eyes, his face was full of hexy. It's just that the occasional flashes of light in his eyes revealed Mingye's inner thoughts. At that time, it's hard to say who will clean up who. At this time, Mingye turned around and faced the Konoha crowd. Everyone, I'm Uchiha Mingye, don't worry about the demon fox for now. Mingye uses the ability of shock fruit, and the sound spreads with the vibration of the air, and the whole leaf can be heard clearly. Huge sound, as if ringing in the daytime. Everyone's attention is on Mingye. It's Master Mingye, capture Orochimaru's village hero, we're saved. Master Mingye actually subdued Nine Tails, even Nine Tails can't do anything to Master Mingye. The strength is really terrifying. With Lord Mingye here, our village will be safe and sound, and please Lord Mingye protect the village. The spectators immediately heard Mingye's words and responded enthusiastically. They even mistakenly thought that Mingye directly surrendered Nine Tails. Even Fugaku, who was full of question marks, was watched by many people. People are sitting at home, and melons come from the sky. As a member of Uchiha Mingye's behavior also brought a lot of attention to the Uchiha clan. But Fugaku didn't care about the gazes of these ordinary people, but looked at his cousin with a worried face. Now this cousin actually went to provoke Nine Tails, doesn't he know the horror of Nine Tails? In the huge ninja world, only Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama have real records to win Nine Tails. If Mingye is down, half of the Uchiha clan will be down now. Fugaku is very worried about Mingye's safety, but at this point, he can only choose to trust Mingye. At this moment, the third generation also heard Mingyi's call, but felt even more uneasy in their hearts. It would be fine if Nine Tails went crazy and started killing people, but the village was being ravaged, and as long as the village died, he would still be Hokage. But now this Uchiha Mingye has actually mixed with Nine Tails. If they really let them say something that shouldn't be said, then everything 0.7 is over. Third generation immediately sped up and rushed towards the place where Nine Tails was. He tried to appease Mingye and let him leave here with Nine Tails. It's a pity that just as he ran in front of Nine Tails, a person who horrified him appeared. I saw Mingye raised Naruto with one hand, and said to the whole village. You guys, do you know who the person in my hand is? Everyone took a closer look. The yellow hair, isn't that the demon fox kid? Why don't you know it? Everyone avoids, this place is too dangerous, irrelevant personnel avoid immediately. Third generation shouted. At this moment, he already thought of what Mingye was going to do, and suddenly panicked. I want to make a final effort to let the masses return to their homes and avoid knowing the truth of the matter. Listening to everyone's answers, Mingye looked at the approaching third generation with a playful smile on his face. This person, called Uzumaki Naruto, is the parent and child of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. Under the blessing of shock fruit, the huge sound instantly spread throughout the whole Konoha. Everyone is stuck in place. Parent-child of the 4th generation. 060. Senju Hashirama's successor, Mingyi's surprise open black lens bracket. Please subscribe, please customize close black lens bracket. Mingyi's words hit everyone's hearts like a bolt from the blue. That hero has a child left behind. All the Konoha people were first shocked, and then doubted. After all, 3rd Hokage said to the outside world that the 4th Hokage couple died on the spot, and even the child in their stomach did not survive. Now Mingye suddenly ran out and said, 3rd generation still has a child. It was really hard for everyone to accept for a while. Although they just said that Mingye is the hero of the village, but 3rd generation is the god of Konoha. Now alone you speak to question God. Everyone can't believe it. However, not everyone is suspicious of Mingye. Some people have flickering eyes and very strange expressions on their faces. Just like Hyuga Hiyashi, not only there is no doubt in the white pupil, but there is a color of understanding. Although he had never seen the specific battle scene back then, he had seen the corpses of the 4th generation couple with his own eyes. He even watched with blank eyes. He was shocked at that time. There was no child in Shin Junai's stomach, and the child just disappeared out of thin air. However, the timing was not right at that time, so I could only tell this secret and bury it deeply in my heart. Combining what Mingye said today, everything becomes clear. The child back then did not die, but lived beside them in another way. The patriarchs of several other big clans, including Nara and other clans, also had their eyes flickering. Although they didn't roll their eyes, they all noticed something strange in various ways. It's just that under the rule of the 3rd generation, they dare not show it clearly. Tsunade looked sad. Kakashi was silent. Standing in midair, after scanning everyone's reactions, Mingye knew that everyone would not trust her so easily. What is the will of fire? When the Nine Tails attacked the city, as an old Hokage, shouldn't he contribute his last strength to the village 15, take the initiative to ask for a fight, and fight to the death? Shouldn't he keep Namikaze Minato, who is young and full of potential? Since you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, admire the will of fire so much, why don't you fight and die for the 4th generation? If you were the one who died back then, how would Konoha look like today? Even a small cloud shinobi dared to come to Konoha to run wild and kidnap the little princess of the Hyuga family by force. This is our 3rd Hokage. Is the strength brought by the adults not enough? What kind of haki was Namikaze Minato back then? The enemy died at sight, and Konoha was invincible. But under your governance of 3rd generation, what has become of Konoha? Mingyi's words contained irony, and every sentence and word pierced 3rd generation's heart like steel needles. Listening to Mingyi's rebuttal, 3rd generation's expression was gloomy and he remained silent. Now he can't answer these questions. Could it be that he let 4th generation out of the station because he was afraid of death? If he really said that, I am afraid that Sarutobi Hiruzen will become a joke of the entire ninja world. But some other ninjas in the village couldn't bear it anymore and spoke directly. It is absolutely impossible for Lord 3rd Hokage to be such a person. I also ask Lord 3rd Hokage to clarify everything and take the initiative to clarify the facts of the year. If Uchiha Mingye slandered Lord 3rd Hokage, we must take action together. The good thing about Haikyuu is to let Sarutobi Hiruzen say everything by himself and take the initiative to clarify the facts of the year, seemingly speaking for the 3rd generation. In fact, it was a soft knife that stabbed 3rd generation to the most dangerous place. If you don't explain clearly, you will be convicted of this crime. Low EQ directly pointed to 3rd generation's nose to question. Please Master Hokage to explain everything. The will of fire must not be defiled. Anyone who defiles the will of fire should be treated as an enemy of the village. The meaning inside and outside the words is already obvious. If you can't explain clearly, then we will face each other with swords. 3rd generation's complexion was even more ugly. Looking carefully, many of the people who spoke and questioned him were familiar faces, including Guy, Yuhihong and so on. Many of the people inside are the top fighters in the village. If these people have doubts about him, I am afraid that it will be difficult for me to secure my position as Hokage. But 3rd generation didn't panic. How could he, who was cunning in his heart, not have expected today's result? Anyone who saw the scene where the fourth generation entrusted Naruto to him all those years ago died. Advertisement. None survived. Dead men tell no tales. So what if you swear what Mingye said? Without hard evidence, who would believe you? After all, is there any paternity test in this era? You can't say that Naruto is the son of the fourth generation just because he also has yellow hair and blue eyes. Third generation said in a deep voice. Everyone, don't be deceived by it. Naruto is just a container used to seal nine tails back then. It has nothing to do with fourth generation. Everything is just a lie of Uchiha Mingye. The Uchiha clan has held grudges against Konoha for a long time, and they just want to use this opportunity to hit me, so as to achieve their own goals. Believe the words of Uchiha Mingye, that is the greatest stupidity. Could it be that I, Sarutobi Hiruzen, have dedicated my whole life to the village? Can't everyone trust me? Third generation's face is serious, and his voice is full of sincerity. With third generation's wrinkled face, it's hard to make people feel disgusted. After third generation's explanation, everyone immediately hesitated. They have more or less heard the news of the feud between Uchiha and Konoha's high-level officials. After all, this kind of 8 trigrams, which are intriguing among the high-level officials, is also the talk of Konoha's ordinary people after dinner. No matter how it is in private, at least third generation is doing a very good job on the surface, and everyone recognizes it. But Mingye's words are just one-sided words, and there is no real evidence. At least if most people choose between Uchiha Mingye and third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen will probably have the advantage. Seeing that the effect is good, third generation immediately pursued the victory. Uchiha Mingye, you have made a big mistake. You approached the Nine Tails Jinchuriki privately, broke the seal, and released Nine Tails. Nine Tails has a cruel temperament. If there is a tragedy, you may be responsible. If you obediently get caught now, I am willing to treat you leniently. Looking at the hypocritical third generation, Mingye only thought it was a little funny, and there was a playful look on his face. This old guy still doesn't give up until now, and still wants to struggle. Tsunade, hurry up and capture Uchiha Mingye with me, don't forget your identity. Third generation roared at Tsunade. Mingye looked at Tsunade indifferently. If she showed any hesitation today, then Mingye would throw Tsunade into the third generation camp and treat her as an enemy. Fortunately, Tsunade did not disappoint Mingye, and shook his head sadly, watching third generation speechless. Tsunade just felt that today's Sarutobi Hiruzen was too strange, and he was no longer his familiar teacher. At this moment, a sudden change, 4 purple flame formation. In the 4 corners of the southeast, northwest, 4 Anbu ninjas shouted loudly. 4 purple walls of light immediately erected, directly enveloping Mingye, Nine Tails, third generation and others. There was a smile of success on third generation's face, and this was also one of the backhands he had prepared for this action. This 4 purple flame array is not an ordinary 4 purple flame array, but an enhanced version. Not only is the defense ability stronger, but it can also block sound, light, vibration and other things from being transmitted outward, directly isolating the inside from the outside. With this thing, third generation is not afraid that Mingye's nonsense will be heard by ordinary people in Konoha. Within the barrier at this moment, only Orochimaru, Kakashi, Tsunade, Naruto, Nine Tails, and only some die-hard Anbu loyalists are left around third generation. Mingye looked at the surrounding purple walls with great interest, and jokingly said, "Is this the coffin you left for yourself?" Third generation smiled sinisterly, without any concealment on his face, and looked at Mingye with murderous intent. "This is the grave I prepared for you. After I kill you, I will charge you with deliberately releasing Nine Tails and attempting to seize Hokage's position, and then I will personally wipe out everything in Uchiha. At that time, I will still be Konoha Hokage." Third generation looked confident, as if everything was under control. Kakashi's eyes widened immediately, and he looked at the third generation who showed his true face in disbelief, as if he had seen something incredible. Advertisement, Master Hokage. However, before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by third generation. "Kakashi, you really let me down. You are just like your useless father. Today you will die here like your father." Third generation looked cold, and his words were full of coldness. Kakashi's heart skipped a beat. "You said, my father?" Third generation smiled disdainfully. "That's right, it's exactly what you think. White Fang's death was simple. Konoha didn't need such a powerful ninja who put the mission second. What Konoha needs is a dead warrior, a ninja who puts everything behind the task." What the third generation showed directly shocked Kakashi. He received too much stimulation today. Originally thought that he was cheated by the third generation, and it was fine to work for him, but in the end, he, lousy, also ended up in the same way. Their father and son are simply contemporary Doi. Mingye looked at third generation with great interest. Logically speaking, it is absolutely impossible for a hypocrite like third generation to say these things in front of others. After all, this is not a novel, so how can there be such a stupid villain who has to say a lot of useless nonsense? The only thing that can be explained is that the current third generation has the certainty of killing all of them. Otherwise, they would never have revealed the truth of everything just like this. This immediately aroused Mingye's interest. Judging from his own memory, although third generation is said to be a ninjutsu professor, he is extremely powerful, 700. But that's just for ordinary ninjas. Although third generation currently knows very little about Mingye's strength, at least they also know that Mingye is not easy to mess with. How can they be so confident? And, most importantly, there's Nine Tails next to me. Third generation is already confident that it can take care of Nine Tails, isn't it? In other words, third generation has prepared other backup players? At this moment, the Anbu ninjas behind third generation suddenly scattered, and directly defended Mingye and Nine Tails in the middle. At the same time, they took out a scroll respectively, cut their fingers, and slapped the scroll hard. Boom! With Nine Tails as the center, a huge sealing circle appeared immediately, and the terrifying chakra was used crazily from the scroll. Instantly formed a pale green, again a colored hemispherical mask to enclose the Nine Tails in. Ha 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 ha! Third generation suddenly laughed wildly. Nine Tails, I suffered once back then, do you think I will suffer again? Do you feel the familiar atmosphere here? That's right, this is the scroll of the seal left by Senju Hashirama back then. The reason is to prevent accidents that might appear in the village. The sudden change directly surprised everyone around Mingye. Then, third generation looked directly at Tsunade. Do you know why I asked you to come back? Tsunade ignored third generation's question, stared at third generation directly, clenched his fists tightly. Because this sealing array needs the blood power of the Senju family and that necklace. While speaking, a small bottle appeared in third generation's hand, which contained half a bottle of blood. A triumphant smile appeared on third generation's face. As Tsunade is his apprentice, getting a little bit of Tsunade's blood is just a simple matter. The Uchiha family can disappear from the world. 061. The Golden Susanoo, the third generation who spits out blood. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Please customize close black lens bracket. Third generation was extremely grateful. Fortunately, he felt something was wrong at the time, so he immediately sent someone to call Tsunade back. Otherwise, facing Nine Tails and Uchiha Mingye at the same time today, even if he is a ninjutsu professor, he can't stand it. This sealing formation was originally meant to be the whole card of the village, but it was so old that very few people really remembered it, so it was taken over by the third generation. As for why this sealing formation was not used back then, the reason is also very simple. The formation first requires a lot of preparation time, as well as the necklace. But the Nine Tails raid was so sudden that there was no time to prepare. In the end, Nine Tails was sealed very quickly, and fourth generation directly used Flying Thunder God to transfer Nine Tails. Therefore, the Nine Tails siege that year did not actually meet the conditions for using this formation. But it's okay to suffer once, how could the old fox of third generation suffer a second time? After Nine Tails was sealed, third generation has been thinking about how to deal with it in the future if Nine Tails breaks free again. Finally, he improved the sealing formation left by Senju Hashirama. Originally, this formation could only be performed by those with the blood power of the Senju clan, but third generation's reputation as a ninjutsu professor is not for nothing. After some painstaking research, third generation successfully improved this sealing formation. You only need to use the blood power of the Senju family as an introduction. However, the disadvantage is also obvious, that is, it requires the cooperation of many people. However, these are not important. The important thing is that today's third generation is in a very happy mood, and he will directly talk about this inspiring Mingye stepping on his feet. Then wipe out the Uchiha clan directly, and completely control Konoha from then on. Ha 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 ha, so what about Nine Tails? He's just a beast. The third generation looks crazy, with murderous intent in his eyes. Nine Tails looked at the surrounding emerald green mask with an ugly expression. He really felt a chakra that made him both familiar and terrified from it, because the horrifying scene immediately appeared in his heart. A giant wooden golem with thousands of hands behind it. Any one hand can squeeze it in your hand and knead it. Roar. Nine Tails roared to the sky, his blood-red pupils filled with incomparable anger. It has been sealed for decades, and it is absolutely unwilling to be sealed again. The huge animal mouth opened, and a terrifying chakra immediately began to gather in the innermost part, and finally formed a ball. An extremely depressing feeling came from it. Even the third generation outside frowned. If such a terrifying chakra was hit head-on, the consequences would be disastrous. But after seeing the emerald green mask, third generation breathed a sigh of relief. The expressions of Kakashi and others inside are even more unbearable. When you come into contact with the tailed beast bomb so close, it's like standing by and watching when the nuclear bomb explodes. Mingye's complexion remained flat, and there was no change because of it, as if the huge tailed beast bomb was just an ordinary ball. Under everyone's horrified eyes, the tailed beast bomb was fully charged. In the midst of a sharp roar, it jetted forward and rushed straight to the emerald green mask. Before everyone had time to react, the tailed beast bomb directly hit the green mask, and everyone could only close their eyes subconsciously. After a while, the imaginary explosion didn't seem to appear. Everyone opened their eyes suspiciously, only to find that the huge tailed beast bomb was tightly attached to the emerald green mask. At the same time, its volume is shrinking visible to the naked eye, and the emerald green mask is also becoming more and more solid. A human shock flashed in Nine Tails' huge pupils, and his strongest attack was dispelled like this. However, Mingye smiled slightly. The wooden dragon summoned by Senju Hashirama back then could absorb chakra directly. So don't be too surprised. As for this photo mask, Mingye doesn't pay attention to it. The third generation outside the mask immediately laughed wildly when they saw this scene. Since the tailed beast bomb has no effect, it is impossible for Nine Tails to break free from this seal. After all, in his heart, as a beast, Nine Tails has too few attack methods. Afterwards, third generation also took out a similar scroll and spread it out on the ground. Wood-style tree god seal. Advertisement following that, third generation shouted loudly. Chakra in the emerald green mask immediately went berserk. Vines immediately appeared under Ninetales' feet, and at first they were no more than thigh thickness. After a while, the vines had become like countless giant snakes, wrapping around Ninetales' body like countless giant snakes. Huge power is exerted on Ninetales, making Ninetales constantly fight against it. However, as the vines slowly tightened, even Ninetales was a little out of breath. In the end, Ninetales' huge body was pulled heavily to the ground. No matter how much Ninetales roars or struggles, the vines don't move at all. Flowers bloomed from the top of the vines. The flowers had 3 petals, and the stamens were unusually gorgeous. A stream of pale yellow pollen was constantly floating out of the stamens. Under the influence of the pollen, Ninetales could only let out an unwilling roar, and finally slowly fell asleep. Mingye snorted coldly, and a gust of wind appeared out of thin air, directly blowing away the pollen around him, helping Kakashi and others behind him. Seeing Ninetales being subdued in this way, he can only sigh, Senju Hashirama, God forever. In the hands of Senju Hashirama, Ninetales is really no different from a kitten, and even the sealing technique left behind can subdue Ninetales easily. Third generation snorted coldly. Damn B***************** D. I'll clean you up later. Then, look at Mingye with bad eyes. In this seal, he, Sarutobi Hiruzen, has the power of a god, easily subduing Ninetales. No matter how strong you Uchiha Mingye are, what waves can you make out of this seal? In fact, this is just an illusion of third generation. The reason why Ninetales is easy to subdue is only because it is restrained by wood style, the continuous chakra in its origin and the terrifying body have lost their effect. But Mingye is different. Even if Mingye doesn't rely on chakra and shock fruit, even if he doesn't use shock fruit, he can directly defeat this formation. Uchiha Mingye, release Ninetales privately. This crime alone is enough to kill or injure you 100 times. Mingye smiled undeniably. Hook stealer, die. Kleptocrat, who? This world has always been spoken with fists, everything else is just embellishment. Third generation suddenly softened his words. If you are willing to swear to live for the village from now on and accept my ninjutsu supervision, I can save your life and spare the Uchiha clan. There was a weird smile on Mingye's face. It seems that this Sarutobi Hiruzen is trying to buy him off. Probably the past Uchiha Shisui let him taste the sweetness. Actually, it is. Even at this moment, third generation still doesn't want to kill Mingye just like that. If they can use Mingye as their thug in the dark, that would be the best news. Even if you can't control Mingye's mind like Uchiha Shisui, you can control Mingye's body through special ninjutsu. As long as Mingye agrees to him, he is willing to give up control of his body. Well, this time, the third generation won a complete victory. The Uchiha clan was eliminated without bloodshed. But will Mingye agree to third generation? Naturally it is impossible. Did you see me in my prime? Mingye suddenly asked. This question immediately stopped third generation. Third generation's expression froze for a moment, and after careful reflection, he seemed to have never seen Mingye make a full-strength shot. But, so what? What does he mean by saying this? Does he have the ability to break this formation? Third generation showed sarcasm. Could it be that your heyday was stronger than Ninetales? In the current ninja world, there is no living person who can stabilize Ninetales. At this age, third generation is also a famous master in the ninja world. Seeing the expression on third generation's face, Mingye's eyes flashed a look of disdain. Today, I'll let you, a frog in a well, see what a real power star is. Mingye said softly. Advertisement at the same time, Mingye's eyes slowly closed. A moment later, when he opened it again, the two pupils had changed into Mangekyo Sharingan, and a mysterious aura came from them immediately. The moment these eyes appeared, it seemed that the flow of time had sped up slightly. It seems to be able to see the rise and fall of vegetation and the fall of stars, which makes people feel awe. You have a Mangekyo Sharingan. The third generation was surprised immediately, and thought to himself, I didn't expect this Uchiha Mingye to hide so deeply. However, under this seal, what about Mangekyo? It's just a tree. Third generation taunted. Any eye is useless unless Uchiha Madara is there today. There was no worry on his face. Sarutobi Hiruzen, watch carefully. Mingye laughed, the chakra in his body surged crazily, the light in his eyes became stronger and stronger, emitting a light that people dare not look directly at, like two rising suns. W. Susano. Mingye let out a low shout, and the chakra in his body began to operate in a mysterious way. Afterwards, the golden light flourished, and everyone who was directly stabbed couldn't open their eyes. Kakashi and the others were fine, they didn't panic too much, but third generation was startled, they couldn't open their eyes during the battle, it was no different from waiting to die. However, the golden light comes and goes quickly. Everyone slowly opened their eyes, and their faces turned pale with shock. They saw a scene that they might never forget in their lifetime. In the horrified eyes of everyone, there was a giant in golden armor in the field, with wings reaching to the sky on his back, and a golden knife in his hand. The costume of this giant is not like that of a warrior from an island country, but rather like that of an ancient oriental country. The long sword in his hand is not a samurai sword, but a tang sword. What a god-like giant. The golden giant exudes a terrifying pressure, even the third generation outside the green light mask feels a little difficult to breathe. Compared with the previous Ninetales, I am afraid that the height of Ninetales can only reach the knee position of the golden giant. Sho. Zonengu. Looking at this somewhat weird golden giant, third generation recognized it at a glance. The golden giant fluttered its wings, almost touching the top of the emerald green mask. A bad feeling suddenly appeared in third generation's heart. Looking at the long knife in the hand of the golden giant, third generation's confidence in the emerald green mask suddenly decreased a lot. It should be fine, third generation murmured feebly. Without the seal left by Senju Hashirama with the formation, he probably won't have the courage to stand in front of the giant. That kind of power made him unconsciously have an impulse to kneel and kowtow, as if he had met the true god in the sky. However, Shang Fu still, Li Jiao, for many years forced him to maintain his composure. If things don't come to an end, then third generation still has some hope of winning, even if the hope is very weak. Mingye shook his head. You still don't want to give up, do you? Then, under everyone's horrified eyes, the golden one actually slowly raised the tang knife in his hand, and there was a faint golden flame burning on the tang knife, very dazzling. Shish. The golden long knife slammed down, and an indescribable golden knife light appeared. That terrifying momentum seemed to be able to split the whole world. Even the space showed slight cracks under the knife, and the pitch-black cracks suddenly appeared under the light of the knife. In the desperate eyes of the third generation, the emerald green light curtain shattered. A huge gap appeared on the mask, and afterward, the entire mask was completely shattered like glass that had been hit hard. All the Anbu ninjas responsible for opening the mask spit out a mouthful of donated blood and flew out backwards. Falling to the ground, life and death are unknown. Third generation also spat out a mouthful of old blood, looking at the golden giant in the sky with a look of despair. Still muttering to himself. Impossible, impossible, absolutely impossible. The power of a knife is so terrifying. 062. Crazy third generation, fainted 9 tails open black lens bracket. Please subscribe, please customize close black lens bracket. One knife, directly destroys everything. With one blow, Konoha third Hokage and his elite Anbu were seriously injured. With one blow, the formation left by Senju Hashirama collapsed. Mingye took a deep breath. Susanoo's power was far beyond his imagination, and at the same time, the consumption was far beyond his imagination. If he didn't have a sage body, in this state, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to last a few minutes. Kakashi looked at the golden god of war in the sky in horror. That kind of terrifying power, that kind of terrifying power. I always feel that my previous battles are like playing house. Even, the trump card that I have been hiding all the time is just a joke in front of this level of strength. Tsunade was a little crazy. This man was so strong that she couldn't resist even a little bit of resistance. Just the golden giant's gaze made her feel weak in her legs. Even, when he compared Mingye with the other men in his heart, he only found that under the light of this golden giant, others were not even qualified to be supporting roles. Even his grandfather, who is known as the god of ninja, is only so strong. Although the current Naruto is still relatively young, he doesn't quite understand what the golden giant in the sky means, but he knows very well that this is very powerful. Even, he has already silently regarded Mingye as his goal in his heart, and he secretly vowed in his heart that one day he must become a ninja as powerful as Mingye. Mingye slowly retracted his strength, and the golden giant in the sky also disappeared in a flash of light. After coughing twice, Mingye's face turned pale. It was the first time she used Susanoo, and her control over chakra was not very good. So Mingye suffered a little backlash, but under the healing of Sage Body, she quickly regained her rosiness. Just when Mingye was about to regain his senses and deal with the Nine Tails problem, a sudden change occurred. I saw that the third generation, who had fainted on the ground, suddenly exploded. Everyone turned pale with shock. Third generation actually still has the strength to make a move? Having withstood such a terrifying attack by Mingye, third generation is still alive and kicking? This strength is too terrifying. Mingye frowned slightly. According to common sense, it is impossible for the third generation to be safe and sound. After perceiving 247 carefully, Mingye was relieved. It turned out that the remaining part of the wood attribute energy in the ceiling formation left by Senju Hashirama entered the body of third generation. Directly healed third generation's injuries, as expected of the god of ninja. If he hadn't met Mingye, Sleepy Yi would have survived a catastrophe just by relying on this formation. It's a pity, according to the original plot, third generation was overshadowed by Orochimaru in the end. Mingye glanced casually at Orochimaru, but this sight directly frightened Orochimaru enough, and today he really saw Mingye's full strength. Immediately, he became grateful to Mingye in his heart. If Mingye had directly slashed him like this when he was arrested. I'm afraid his ashes can't be found now. While being in awe, Orochimaru became frightened. What did Mingye's eyes mean just now? Is it because you are not satisfied with yourself? Mingye naturally didn't know about Orochimaru's inner activities. Even if he knew, Mingye didn't bother to take it seriously. As for the third generation who stood up again, Mingye just ignored it. He could clearly perceive that the third generation's mental fluctuations were very abnormal now, and it was no longer like the fluctuations possessed by a normal person. After the third generation exploded, instead of attacking Mingye, it chose to run around, howling in panic. Impossible. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Mingye shook his head. It seemed that he was so stimulated that he went crazy. It seems that my Konoha mental hospital will have another patient, Mingye thought to himself. At this moment, Tsunade went directly to knock the third generation out of his senses. No matter what, the third generation was his teacher. The former Hokage, Tsunade has no ability to bring the third generation back from the darkness, at least don't let him be like running around like a lunatic. But Mingye nodded in relief. It seems that Tsunade will soon enter the position of vice president of Konoha Mental Hospital. Know how to take the initiative to take care of patients. Advertisement afterwards, following the fainting of the caster Sarutobi Hiruzen, the sealing, BFFH, seal technique that was originally applied on the ground, the huge vines that bound Nine Tails also began to gradually lose their vitality. At the same time, the three-petaled flowers emitting strange pollen began to wither. After being freed from the confusion of the pollen, Nine Tails began to wake up slowly, and the brutal Japanese stock market immediately filled the audience. It's just that after being baptized by Mingye, everyone present seemed to be immune to this kind of aura, and they didn't take any special actions because of it. Even the expression on his face was very flat. The Nine Tails who woke up were extremely angry in reality, and they were sealed again. The people of Konoha really have every good thing, and every time they see them, there is no good thing. However, after being angry for a while, Nine Tails also realized that something was wrong. The surroundings don't seem to be any dark sealed dungeons, the environment doesn't seem to have changed, and the vines that originally strangled him seem to have lost their vitality and rotted. With a little effort, I broke free from these vines. Nine Tails was stunned. What happened? Who I am? Where am I? What am I going to do? After looking around for a while, the original green cover that made him helpless has disappeared, leaving only a square purple light curtain. Looking again, I only found that a few people not far away were looking at him with the eyes of an idiot. Nine Tails suddenly became angry. I was just beaten up for no reason today, and I was full of anger, but now you still dare to look at me like this. Mingye frowned. Nine Tails, you forgot our agreement? Roar. Uchiha kid, it's a pity that I'm in a bad mood now, and I'm not interested in playing games with you, so you'd better use your life to quench my fire. Also, you have two auras that I hate, die for me. Nine Tails is naturally talking about the breath of Uchiha Sharingan and Senju Hashirama Sage Body. It's no wonder that Nine Tails is so angry, after all, it has lived for so many years, and it has only been deflated in the hands of these two families. It is very normal to have hatred in your heart. Mingye suddenly snorted coldly. This demon fox was playing tricks in front of him, he didn't know what to do. Originally, I wanted this fox to cooperate with me well, and it would not be impossible to let him go free. After all, seeing how he has been imprisoned for so many years, I have pity on him. In the end, this fox actually returned his favor and revenge. Mingye's figure changed, leaving an afterimage on the spot, and then, there were successive ringing sounds in the air. Nine Tails suddenly panicked. The kid from the Uchiha family seems to be a little scary fast. I didn't even capture his figure on the head. A voice came, and Nine Tails looked up with his eyeballs, and immediately found Naruto standing on top of his head. My heart was shocked immediately, and at the same time, the intense panic in the Japanese stock market swept my heart. Because he found out, Mingye raised his fist. A white halo lingered above the fist, and then, a terrifying breath came from above the fist. Get hit and it's over. Nine Tails has only one thought in his heart. However, it was too late to say it, and Nine Tails, who had just had an idea in his heart, had no time to react, and the fist fell under his desperate gaze. The terrifying energy directly hit Nine Tails' skycap, and a shock force was directly transmitted to Nine Tails' brain through Mingye's fist. Even with such a strong physique as Nine Tails, after receiving Mingye's punch head-on, two eyeballs rolled up, revealing two big whites. Boom! It was so huge that Mingye punched him directly to the ground from midair, and even smashed Nine Tails' head into a deep pit. It's Uchiha again. Advertisement, that's the last thought on Nine Tails' mind. Nine Tails immediately lost consciousness and passed out. It's too embarrassing. Hashirama laughed and patted the dog's head back then, and now he was punched unconscious by Mingye. Nine Tails is simply the most shameless of all tailed beasts. Mingye shook his fist and looked at Nine Tails under his feet indifferently. Everyone says that tailed beasts are crazy, and it seems that this is not unreasonable. At least you should take a look at the situation after you get up, and ask the cause and effect before you do it. It's better not to release this kind of thing. Mingye turned his eyes, and suddenly found the little Naruto beside him, and a thought suddenly came to his heart. Naruto, how about I give you a chance to choose? Naruto looked at Mingye suspiciously. What choice? Mingye pointed to the Nine Tails on the ground. You know this thing? Your parents sealed it into your body back then? However, this fox also killed your parents with his own hands, no matter whether it is being controlled or wants to be free. Anyway, this fox killed your parents with his own hands. So, I now give you the right to choose, and let you decide his fate. After Mingye finished speaking, he looked at Naruto with interest. Although Naruto and Nine Tails reconciled in the original book, how does Naruto view this issue? Do you have other thoughts about this fox in your heart? Mingye is very curious. I give you two choices. First, I killed him with my own hands. Maybe he will be resurrected in the future, but I will kill him again. After a while, when my strength reaches a higher level, I will naturally wipe him out of this world with my own hands. Lose. Second, back then your parents had the opportunity to completely make Nine Tails disappear from this world, but they didn't. The reason why your parents sealed Nine Tails in your body is probably because they wanted to give it to you as a gift. If you can control Nine Tails in the future, then he will be a great help for you. At the same time, considering that he was controlled by outsiders after all, it caused the death of your parents. I can seal it back into your body. how to destroy 9 tails. Mingye naturally has a way, and can even consider sealing 9 tails first, and when the strength reaches the level of 6 paths in the future, make a move. Naruto lowered his head, with a hesitant look on his face. This choice was still too difficult for him as a child. After all, the current him doesn't even know what 9 tails are, he just thinks it's a big fox with 9 tails. Naruto looked a little confused, not knowing how to choose for a moment. In the end, Naruto seemed to think of his father Namikaze Minato again, and after a moment of silence, he said, I believe in my father and mother. Since they didn't kill 9 tails back then, I won't kill 9 tails either. Brother Mingye, please put 9 seal the tail. There is no trace of hatred in Naruto's light blue pupils, only honesty. Mingye sighed, and had to admit that this expression was really not faked by Naruto, he was just such a person from childhood. Even if he is treated maliciously, squeezed out, and bullied by the whole world, he is still sunny and cheerful. It's not like some people who want to destroy the world every time they are slightly stimulated. Okay, since you have made a choice, I will fulfill my promise too. Chakra surged in Mingye's body, and he opened the shirt of little Naruto first, pointed at his stomach, and chakra gushed out wildly. Immediately formed a seal pattern on the surface of Naruto's belly. Then he pulled the fainted 9 tails across the air, and the huge 9 tails seemed to have received some traction, and immediately began to move in the direction of Naruto's stomach. Afterwards, the pattern on the stomach emitted a burst of mysterious light, directly swallowing the entire 9 tails. Then, an 8 trigrams figure appears on Naruto's belly. A mysterious seal was thus formed, 063. The 4 purple flame formations are broken, and the desperate Sarutobi clan opened black lens bracket. Please subscribe, please customize close black lens bracket. This seal is specially strengthened by Mingye. In the past, 9 tails was able to infiltrate some lessons through the seal to affect Naruto's mood. So now, let alone infiltrating chakra, 9 tails might not even be able to say a word. The current 9 tails is equivalent to a large battery. As long as Naruto is strong enough, he can easily extract chakra from the 9 tails battery. This is all Mingye's little tribute to the 4th generation. After all, a martyr is a martyr, no matter in which world he should be respected. The children of martyrs should also receive some care. This is what Mingye, as a Chinese, has always kept in mind. Mingye looked at the square Sizzy in the flame array. The 3rd generation fainted, and all the Anbu ninjas it brought over were half dead. Apart from Mingye and Kakashi and others who were still in a stunned state on the ground, there was only the arrogant vine that was used to bind Jushing. It's just that the vine is already rotten, and it will shatter when touched. Mingye said calmly. Okay, let's go out now. There was no disturbance in the voice, as if the battle just now had no burden on Mingye at all. In fact, Mingye also had a headache in his heart, he seemed to have forgotten something just now. 9 tails has been sealed in, then who will expose the face of 3rd generation TNE? I can't unseal 9 tails again by myself, and then beat 9 tails violently to make him testify. After completing the proof, seal it back into 9 tails body again. Mingye's face is a little weird, isn't it disrespectful to 9 tails? If the 4th generation knew Mingye's thoughts, they would probably bang their heads against the wall. They would die if they sealed 9 tails. In the end, they had to fight all their lives to be worthy of sealing 9 tails. In the end, Mingye sealed it, but he didn't want to release it and seal it again? Still in response to that sentence, if you compare goods, you have to throw them away, and if you compare people with others, you have to die. Although Mingye really wanted to do this, but seeing Naruto's pale face, he could only give up this idea. Even though Naruto has the strong physique of the Uzumaki family, letting 9 tails in and out of his body twice in one day is the limit. If Mingye makes another show, Naruto may die on the spot. Advertisement: we can only let Naruto take care of his body for the time being, and come back in a few days. Mingye sighed, and walked directly to the edge of the 4 purple flame formation. This 4 purple flame formation is a bit peculiar, and it is somewhat different from what Mingye memory Orochimaru displayed when dealing with 3rd generation. The caster of this formation was actually standing outside. Mingye touched the purple light wall with his right hand, and a white circle of light immediately appeared on his palm, and a trembling force pierced through. The entire purple wall of light immediately vibrated at a high speed invisible to the naked eye. Outside the 4 purple flame formation, several Anbu ninjas who were in charge of maintaining the formation immediately realized that something was wrong, and immediately frantically input chakra into it, trying to maintain the light wall. It's a pity that the strength of these ninjas is not worth mentioning in front of Mingye. Immediately under the horrified gazes of these ninjas, the wall of light began to shatter. With Mingye's palm as the center, huge spiderweb-like cracks spread out immediately. A moment later, the purple light wall was still covered with hideous and terrifying cracks, as if a gust of wind could blow it down. Mingye pushed forward lightly, and the entire light wall shattered immediately. The Konoha ordinary people and elite ninjas outside the light wall immediately stared nervously at the light wall. When 4th generation launched the 4 purple flame formation, a large number of Anbu ninjas came to maintain order at the scene. Although everyone was full of doubts about the current scene, they were afraid of Anbu's reputation for being cruel and ruthless. In the absence of anyone taking the lead in making trouble, everyone did not dare to make trouble, and all waited obediently in place. Seeing the wall of light break at this moment, everyone even breathed nervously. The final result may directly affect Konoha's future direction. The light curtain fell, and Mingye's figure appeared in front of everyone. In an instant, countless people's hearts were ashamed, and countless people's faces were ecstatic. The happiest people are those from the Uchiha clan. Since Mingye is standing up now, doesn't that mean that third generation has lost? In the future, there will be no Uchiha clan against them in the village. In contrast, the Sarutobi family is ashen-faced, feeling as if the sky is falling. Without third Hokage, what else can their Sarutobi clan have on the table? How many strong people in the clan can support the beam? Can the resources and industries that are occupied on weekdays be maintained? Advertisement. The answer is probably very clear. Seeing Mingye coming out, a large group of people immediately surrounded him, scrambling to ask questions without listening. At this moment, Anbu saw that the third generation had passed out in Tsunade's hands, and he didn't know what to do, and he was a little dazed and sluggish in place. Ask for flowers. Where's Nine Tails? Where's Nine Tails? Where's that nasty demon fox? Why is Master Hokage unconscious? Could it be that Master Hokage was seriously injured in order to subdue Nine Tails? What happened to that child? Does the fourth generation really have any children left behind in Konoha? The crowd rushed towards Mingye crazily, afraid that if they came too late, they would miss some important information. There are also some very familiar faces, including Guy, Yuhihong, Nara Shikahisa and others. Mingye suddenly felt a bit of a headache, and the feeling of chattering was like returning to the feeling of being bombarded by relatives in turn during the new year of Blue Star. Among them, the most excited ones were the members of the Sarutobi clan, who all stood in front of Mingye frantically, stepping over my dead body as if they wanted to leave. Zero. After all, other people are curious, but the Sarutobi family is called interest, and they must not let third generation have any problems. Just when Mingye wanted to make a move, Uchiha Fugaku came. Everyone, maintain order and don't delay the treatment of third Hokage. A large number of people wearing Konoha guard uniforms flooded into the scene in an instant, and immediately divided the crowd into several areas. Now that Konoha Anbu and the Roots are not out, then the Konoha guard is the strongest force on the surface, and they have also grasped the official identity. People who don't know the inside story don't dare to mess around. People who know the inside story don't dare to mess around. The third generation is still in their hands, isn't it courting death now? But there were also many ninjas who left the scene sneakily, not knowing where they went. Mingye breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately left the scene from the space divided by the guards. Leaving behind the crazy Sarutobi clan and the bewildered Melon Eaters. 064. Third generation enters a mental hospital. Orochimaru's excitement. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Please order close black lens bracket. Although it is said that Mingye has left the scene for the time being, a reasonable explanation must be explained. Otherwise the Sarutobi clan and Melon Eaters surrounding outside may not leave easily. Let go of Lord Third Hokage. The Uchiha clan dares to kidnap Hokage at will. It is simply unforgivable. Master Third Hokage is the hero who sealed the Nine Tails again. The Uchiha clan dared to attack Master Hokage. It is really lawless. Damn, Uchiha Mingye must have sneaked up on the back while Lord Third Hokage was fighting Nine Tails. Otherwise how could Lord Third Hokage have become like this? Outside of Konoha Psychiatric Hospital, at this moment, a large group of people surrounded here, although the current Sarutobi clan did not dare to mess around at all. But they still have the ability to fan the flames behind the scenes, and they have it greatly. At this time, without Mingye taking the initiative to speak, Fugaku has already gone out to deal with these matters. 430. Innocent gatherings are prohibited in Konoha village. What do you want to do? Uchiha Fugaku directly opened Sharingan, sweeping the audience with momentum. Although the strength is not enough for Mingye, but for these ordinary Konoha people, it is simply extremely terrifying. The crowd suddenly fell silent. After seeing the shocking crowd, Fugaku's tone softened a little. Please rest assured, with my Konoha guard, Third Hokage will never be harmed. Our Konoha Psychiatric Hospital is the most powerful hospital in the whole Konoha, and we definitely have the strength to heal the third generation. I believe that it won't be long before everyone can see the third generation. Even Tsunade, one of the most powerful medical forbearance ever, is here, so don't worry. As for the Nine Tails and other issues that everyone is concerned about, it involves Konoha's secrets. We will explain everything to everyone at the right time. These words are well-founded, and no one can refute them. Fugaku is worthy of being Konoha's old-fashioned politician. If he said it, he didn't say it, he is just a cliché. However, the crowd obviously liked this, and after Fugaku's guarantee, everyone's emotions calmed down immediately. He even walked away with a smile on his face. Master Tsunade is Master Hokage's apprentice. With Master Tsunade here, we definitely don't have to worry about it. Yes, Fugaku is also a high-ranking member of Konoha, so he won't deceive us just because of this. In the dark, several popular members of the Sarutobi clan trembled all over, gnashing their teeth one by one. Are these people a herd of pigs? Advertisement. I'm afraid dealing with a group of pigs is more difficult than dealing with them. It's a pity that they never thought about it. Isn't it the third generation's own policy that the people are so stupid? If the masses are not stupid, how can the third generation still rule? It's a pity that now he is lifting a rock and shooting himself in the foot. Konoha Mental Hospital. Inside, Mingye looked at third generation lying on the bed with an inexplicable smile on his face. He discovered that the third generation would be awake for about an hour a day, and the rest of the time was still crazy. At this time, third generation looked at the other two patients in the room with a look of horror on his face. He suddenly found that his subordinates Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi are here at the moment. It's just that their expressions are a bit abnormal, one rolled his eyes and foamed at the mouth, and the other looked dripping wet. Mingye immediately introduced. This is Uchiha Shisui. For his delusional disorder, we first adopted click therapy. Every 10 minutes, click once. Through the stimulation of external currents to open up the disordered neurons in his brain, of course, the success rate is not particularly high. So, electric shock for about 16 hours a day. Mingye glanced at Orochimaru next to him. Increase the power immediately. This power is not enough. Orochimaru ran over obediently immediately, and after turning the red knob, Shisui, who was sitting on the chair, immediately trembled. The hair stood on end, and there was even a burnt smell coming out. Mingye nodded in satisfaction and looked at another patient, Uchiha Itachi. This patient has a bit of epilepsy, which is not easy to treat, so I chose alternating cold and hot therapy for them. Pour a pot of boiling water on him first, then pour a pot of ice water on him, so that the cycle of alternating cold and heat may be able to successfully stimulate his brainstem. At this time, a basin above Uchiha Itachi's head was directly rotated by the machine, and a basin of steaming boiling water was immediately poured from the top of the head. Uchiha Itachi immediately let out a scream, and the skin on his body turned red. However, the other basin immediately rotated, and a basin of cold water with ice cubes poured down immediately. Uchiha Itachi fainted immediately. Also, considering that the two patients may be a bit weak, I specially invited Dr. Orochi 9. Advertisement: with Dr. Orochi 9, the safety of these two names is absolutely guaranteed. Mingye pointed to Orochimaru in disguise. At the moment Orochimaru is treating these two people, in the green chakra trail of Orochimaru. The two of them immediately regained their health visible to the naked eye. After hearing Mingye's introduction, Orochimaru showed a bright smile to third generation. Third generation's scalp exploded immediately. If others couldn't recognize him, how could he not recognize him? This so-called Orochi 9 is actually his apprentice Orochimaru. Master Third Hokage, I will be your attending doctor from now on. I really didn't expect that we would meet in such a situation. Looking at it, third generation's heart immediately trembled, even his lips trembled. Looking terrified. He had seen how Orochimaru did human experiments back then, and now that he fell into Orochimaru's hands like this, he didn't even dare to think about what would happen. Looking at the expression on third generation's face, Orochimaru felt very refreshed in his heart. As a teacher, I was very eccentric in the past, and I can say that I was responsive to Jiraiya's request, and I passed on my own strength to Jiraiya without hesitation. Even Konoha's forbidden technique scroll was once shown to Jiraiya. But he is always very harsh on himself, picky about everything. When you want to watch forbidden technique, you have to sneak around to see it. Later, he was regarded as an S-rank traitor and was hunted down by the village. Now that this mentor is in his hands, Yin suddenly became excited. Orochimaru, Master Third Hokage will be handed over to you for treatment after 2.5 days. Be sure to cure Master Third Hokage. You can choose the treatment plan, the bolder the better, the more radical the better, as long as you save his life. Mingye showed a faint smile. Then, he turned around and left the room. The screams of the third generation follow suit. It's a pity that once the door is closed, you can't hear it anymore. 065. Tsunade's misunderstanding. Mingye took a breath. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Please customize close black lens bracket. After solving the problem of third generation's admission to the hospital, Mingye returned to his office, ready to take a good look at the rewards he had received. When third generation was admitted to the hospital, the system gave him a chance to draw a lottery. Draw the lottery now. A colorful turntable immediately spun. This time Mingye stared hard at the turntable, hoping to see something from above. However, he was soon disappointed. When he stared at the turntable, he found that his eyes were like a 1000-degree myopic eye, and he still didn't wear glasses. Congratulations to host for getting Whitebeard template integration plus 5%. The current integration rate is 95%. Mingye squinted his eyes, feeling the changes in his body, and immediately showed a satisfied expression on his face. Although there is a sage body now, the strength of the Whitebeard template is definitely not bad, even if it is Senju Hashirama who closed the peak state of the year. Whitebeard's strength is not lost at all. Bang bang bang. Come in. The one who entered was Tsunade. But today's Tsunade is a bit special. Instead of the loose casual clothes of the past, he changed into a kimono. And it seems to have a little makeup on. The whole person looks very delicate, and under the background of the kimono belt, the whole figure presents an S-shaped appearance. Mingye couldn't help but take a second look. Perhaps because he sensed Mingye's gaze, Tsunade's face turned slightly rosy, but his expression was still normal, not like some little girls who are twitchy. What's the matter? Perhaps it was because of the good things that were won in the lottery just now. Mingye's complexion was soft, and he was in a very happy mood. Mr. Mingye, after I go back and think about it carefully, I am willing to be your vice president. In the past, my thinking was too simple, and I didn't see the true face of the village's high-level people. Now I am a little disappointed in the village, so I don't want to work for the village for the time being. Today's Tsunade's words are not as bold as in the past at all, but a lot more gentle, and the words spoken are waxy, which makes people feel very comfortable to listen to. Mingye nodded, with a smile on his face. Okay, now that you've figured it out, you'll be mine from now on, under my command. Perhaps because he was a little distracted, Mingye almost said the wrong thing. Advertisement. Tsunade nodded. But, I have two conditions. First, I hope Mingye-kun will help Konoha as much as possible if it is convenient in the future. Mingye nodded. This request is not too much, after all, he is also a Konoha now. And the Uchiha clan is also in Konoha. Even if you don't care about Konoha, you still have to control the Uchiha clan. Second, I hope Mr. Mingye can give me your knowledge. Mingye glanced at this woman in surprise, and said that this woman likes to gamble, but at present, this statement seems to be inaccurate. If he likes to gamble, he should ask Mingye to open a casino for him. But now she actually asks Mingye to teach him some biological knowledge. It seems that she still loves medicine more in her heart. However, Mingye did shake his head slowly. Knowledge can be given to you, but it is absolutely impossible to give it to you so simply. Mingye didn't have any expression on his face, just looked at Tsunade in kimono with a playful face. If I remember correctly, island countrywomen seemed to be in a vacuum in ancient times. It seems that no one invented such a thing as underwear in that era. So, did someone in the ninja world invent such a thing? Although Mingye didn't have any dirty thoughts in his mind, he just lost his mind for a while. However, this look in Tsunade's eyes completely changed his taste. Tsunade only knew that Mingye refused his request, and then kept focusing on a certain part of her body. Tsunade was a little confused, although Mingye was strong, handsome, and excellent in strategy, but Tsunade's inner entanglements Mingye naturally did not know. After recovering, Mingye thought Tsunade couldn't accept such a condition when he saw the changing expression on Tsunade's face. Mingye just wants to use knowledge as Tsunade's wages. You are the deputy dean now, do the work first, and I will teach some biological knowledge as a reward every month. But what does that look on your face mean right now? Want to gain direct access to all biology knowledge as soon as you join the job today? Is there a boss in the world who will directly pay employees a year's salary as soon as they join the job, unless the boss is a cerebral palsy? Or the boss is your father, but is Mingye cerebral palsy? Is Mingye Tsunade's father? Advertisement neither. So Mingye's expression became indifferent all of a sudden. This Tsunade still wants to be an empty-handed wolf? If this is your sincerity, then you can go out. There is no emotion in the voice, even a little cold. Tsunade suddenly became a little flustered, and the originally cloudy look on his face disappeared immediately. If Mingye is really get out today, I'm afraid she will never be able to come in again in the future. Tsunade gritted his silver teeth, walked towards Mingye with a shy face. Mingye raised his eyebrows. What was he doing? He was so angry that he wanted to be tough, but he didn't feel any killing intent. Besides, why is there something wrong with the expression on Tsunade's face? What kind of expression is this? Aren't we talking about business today? It's not about dating. Resisting the doubts in his heart, Mingye sat on the office chair without any movement. He wants to see what Tsunade is up to. After Tsunade walked in front of him, he said in a low voice, "Close your eyes." Mingye frowned, but did it anyway. After all, in the 197 situation with the top observation Hokage, there is basically nothing to do if Mingye opens his eyes. Just play with Tsunade and see what she can do. Seeing that Mingye closed her eyes, Tsunade gritted her teeth and squatted down. Hiss. Mingye suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air. He immediately realized something was wrong. Tsunade seemed to have misunderstood something. Tsunade doesn't think he is the kind of person who uses biological knowledge as a thread to take advantage of the fire. Conscience. I was just discussing with Tsunade how to impart knowledge. How did this thing develop in a strange direction? However, now that the matter has developed to this point, Mingye can only sigh helplessly. If you misunderstand, just misunderstand. If you stop now, wouldn't it be even more unclear?